The meeting of Atlantic County Board of Commissioners is called to order in compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act of the State of New Jersey. Adequate notice of this meeting of Atlantic County Board of Commissioners was provided in the following manner. Published in the Press of Atlantic City and mailed to the Current, the Daily Journal, the Hamilton Gazette, and the Hamilton News, and has been posted on the bulletin boards in the county office building in Atlantic City, Stillwater building in Northfield, and the county clerk's office in Mays Landing. Prior to doing the opening prayer with John will be doing, I just want to say, as many may have read in the press recently, a lifelong county resident and former county freeholder and county surrogate, Jim Carney, is in the fight for his life as he recently battled kidney cancer and now needs a kidney transplant. Jim has helped so many, throughout in his public career, so we want to keep him in our prayers as well. And today we'll be recognizing the Egg Harbor Township Fire Companies for their outstanding public service. In response to fires, I'd like to ask that we keep them and all firefighters in our thoughts and prayers as they fight fires and help educate our residents on the importance of fire prevention within our communities and all the other things you do for our communities, because we know that you're all always out there for us. John?
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, give us that we may be productive leaders. Guide us in our community. Direct our actions and decisions. O God, for the service of others. Amen.
Amen. Okay, we'll stand and face the flag. Attention, salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll have a roll call now.
Vallis.
Here.
Bertino.
Here.
Corsi.
Present.
Days.
Here.
Patrick.
Here.
Gatto.
Here.
Parker.
Present.
Risley.
Here.
And Kern.
Here. Okay, the commissioners have had an opportunity to review the minutes from January 18th, 2022. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the January 18th, 2022 minutes as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any comments from the commissioners?
Madam Chair, I have to abstain from the minutes from 2/1/22. I was absent, just in case you're taking them together.
Okay. Yeah. Any other comments? Okay, we'll take a roll call.
Vallis.
Yes.
Bertino.
Yes to 118, abstain from 2/1/22 minutes.
Corsi.
Yes.
Days.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Commissioner Corsi,
Yes.
Were you here on the 18th?
That's what I'm sitting here checking.
Gatto.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I have to abstain on 118 and yes on
Certainly.
2/1.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Gatto.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Risley.
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes. Motion carries. Okay, commissioners have had an opportunity to review the minutes from February 1, 2022. I'll entertain a motion to adopt February 1, 2022 minutes as presented.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any comments from the commissioners? Okay, seeing none, we'll have a roll call.
Vallis.
Yes.
Bertino abstaining. Corsi.
Yes.
Abstaining.
Abstain?
No, 2-1.
You're good for 2-1.
Yeah, I would say 2.
Days.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Gatto.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Risley.
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Okay, anyone that would like to speak during public comments, please come to the podium, state your name and the town you reside. You'll be provided up to 3 minutes to speak. If you're attending virtually, please type yes and the resolution number in the question and answer box. Any items not listed on the agenda, you may speak during public comments. You'll be raised from an attendee to a panelist. When you're raised, please state again your name and the town you reside. Okay, and right now I would like to thank Christine Chickadell for being with us today. And just a note, so the board and everybody realizes over 61 million American adults in the United States live with a disability, which means 26%, 1 in 4 of adults in the United States have some type of disability. A little over 10% of the population in New Jersey also has a disability. This plan and subject is very important to our residents, and I wanted to share all of that with the board and how much Christine has put into this. We looked at this project at one time, but I don't think everyone realized that it took 2 to 3 years for this to be completed. It took a lot of time and effort on your part, so thank you. So welcome, come on up, Christine.
Thanks, Maureen. My name is Christine Chickadell. I'm the ADA coordinator here at Atlanta County. And kindly, several months ago, Chairwoman Kern thought it would be a good idea to present this project because it was a lengthy undertaking and a big one. So I appreciate you allowing me to talk about it. I'm only able to take 5 to 10 minutes of your time today. You can go to the next slide. So as the ADA coordinator, I do Titles 1 and Titles 2 of the ADA here at Atlanta County. Title 1 is the employment section, which I work closely with human resources at the city. And then I do Title 2 with human services, which is state and local government component of the ADA. This project that we did in a transition plan, when I took on as the ADA coordinator about 4 years ago, I realized that it was time to revisit this project. As you can see, as part of the Code of Federal Regulations, 35.150D, it's a mandate under Title II of the ADA, requires the transition plan process and policy for all state and local governments. This is a living document, meaning it's not done. It's really never done. It's always worked upon. And the last analysis Atlanta County went under was 24 years ago. And this is the booklet that it looks like that I got to work off of and how to proceed. I can pass that around if you wish. No? Okay. So the next slide, please. So starting in about October of 2018, I met with legal counsel, namely Jim Ferguson, to discuss kind of my findings and the need for the impetus of revisiting the transition plan and explain to him some of the regulations that I found. After that, after several meetings ensued with Jim and some of his team members, I brought in a presentation from a company called Accessology. It's out of Texas. And some members of administration sat in on that meeting in the city to understand what this was and why we had this need. Then, after understanding that and speaking further with people, we received administrative approval to proceed with undergoing the transition plan process. Next slide. All along this way, everyone kept asking me, why now? It hasn't been done for 24 years. Why do we have to do this now? And as I said, I newly took the role and really closely looked at the law and the regulation and found that it was time. And mostly because we were not compliant with the ADA under Title II. We didn't have this updated plan. We were ripe for litigation here at the county. The Department of Justice had several enforcement components, but the one that was the loudest, if you will, in my eyes, was a project called Project Civic Access. And that's when the DOJ goes around and they basically do desk audits and look at how websites and if counties have allocated ADA coordinators and if their transition plan self-evaluation is in place. During my research, I did find that Somerset County, when I pulled their plan, this was one that they did due to a lawsuit. They didn't have this going, and they had to, put this plan together very quickly, and it's very costly when you have to do it like that. So the costs to do a transition plan, as we looked into it, are very, very high and broad. Transition plan encompasses complete overlook at all your access for county operations, roadways, public rights of way, programs, services, policies, grievances. It's so big. So there was funding hurdles. And the office that I work in, the Office of Disability Services, we do not have any funds. Like our sister area agency on aging has millions. I have zero to work with. So that was the question, how are we going to fund something like this? So I found through the Division of Disability Services a little grant collaborative that I applied and won. It was only $20,000, but I was able to seek some consultants around the nation because this is a very niche project and it's hard to find people that know how to do it. And we found a company to do it. Number 4, we develop partners by forming a transition plan under the guidance and direction of Jerry Del Rosso. He advised we go that way, and we developed a transition plan committee that was comprised of all county directors, mostly in every division. And then in addition, I partnered with the Disability Advisory Board that I staff as the 2 partners on this project. We determined a consultant to use for this $20,000 grant. And after I researched lots of options on who to go with. I presented all this information on what these 3 consulting agencies that I narrowed it down to had to offer, and then the committee decided on the coordinator consultant, which is next page. We chose Disability Access Consultants based out of Chicago, Florida, and California, 3 different offices. Went through all kinds of processes to make those decisions with our committee. They offered to do our project within funding that we had, so there was no additional monies needed. And we chose to do what you call a compliance plan, as I noted there, instead of a transition plan because of financials, basically, and some guidance that we received from consultants along the way. This was a good basis to start to get us compliant. This was a year-long analysis that DAC, Disability Access Consultants, did. Went through all kinds of processes. We had committees, partners, public input, regular communication with myself. We just completed the project, and I don't like to use the word completed because it's ongoing, but this compliance plan finished November 2021, and it is posted on our website for everyone to see under the Office of Disability in the bottom corner. Anyone can go peruse it. I did bring it today, but it's 144 pages, so I didn't print one for everyone. And then just kind of what it says. What did they find? And fortunately, kind of like I expected, we're pretty compliant here at Atlantic County, but some things that we do have to work on. In the order of importance, as I noted, is our website. The best practice, ADA best practice, requires an accessible website, and we are working very steadfastly with our webmaster and administration on doing that. We actually have another meeting just on this Thursday for it. Another step that I would like to see after that would be to work with our engineering department to modify the current plan that they have, which is also on our website. You can find the engineering plan to establish a right-of-way ADA committee, which is something that is missing from that we found. So that would be a nice next step. And then following that, to visit ADA grievances, because whenever a complaint comes in, it comes to me, whether it's from the public or internal staff seeking an accommodation. So having a better system to notate and track that would be something I'd love to visit. And then finally, do a physical audit. Atlantic County has 93 buildings that it owns. 68 of them are publicly accessed. So out of those 68, ultimately we'd like to go through and make sure that the public can get in them, the restrooms are accessible, and things of that nature. So that's the process of it. I hope that I was clear, and I really appreciate everyone understanding my project. Does anyone have any questions about it?
Hi. That was really good.
Thanks.
Thank you. So, 24 years since the last look at this, is there anything in the ADA that says how often one of these audits has to happen?
It has to be ongoing. So right now, we are compliant in Atlantic County by having active proceedings to keep our county up to date with access for people of all abilities. So really, since 1998, when we had this first little booklet done, nothing's really been done with it from my vantage point since then. And we're really pretty compliant. I mean, website stuff is pretty new, to have that up to date, and that's really the loudest issue, if you will. So we're working really hard to get that, and everyone's very receptive in the county, fortunately, to get that done. So I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, I see. I know we have some new IT people on staff all of a sudden. So hopefully that's going to help you out.
Yeah.
Great.
Yes.
Any other commissioners have any comments or questions?
Just a couple quick questions. I agree, great presentation.
This is probably gonna sound like a stupid question, but transition from what to what? What does the transition plan, is it just, it's a compliance plan?
Yes.
Okay,
So the ADA Title II, under that code, requires the transition plan. So it really starts with a self-evaluation, which is an analysis of any barriers for people with disabilities. Take a look at that. A transition plan is a timeline of when we're gonna complete them.
okay.
So to start,
So moving into compliance essentially.
exactly,
Okay, gotcha.
yes.
I told you it was a stupid question. And then, from the physical audit and looking at publicly accessed buildings, does part of this include, and I don't know if it falls under the jurisdiction, but include polling locations?
That's a different animal, and I
Okay.
work closely with the Board of Elections on that right now, and that's always been closely checked for compliance.
Right, okay.
So we're very good there, if you will.
And then you mentioned that you have no funding. I think that means you have no grant funding on a regular basis, like some other departments get from state and federal resources. Are you going to be continuing to apply for that grant that you got, so we could maybe continually have money like this to keep the plans up to date?
So honestly, Ms. Gatto, we do not have any funding in the Office of Disability. It's been like that. I'm under the umbrella of the Area Agency on Aging and the Aging and Disabled Resource Connection, and the aging component of social services is well funded,
Right.
but disability has none, and I'm honest about that. So as far as grants go, yes, I have been tipped to another state grant through the Division of Disability Services that can potentially help us piggyback on what we've already done and keep going. But it's just keep finding those grants to be able to do these projects.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Thank you for
Anybody
your
else have
time.
any questions or anything? Yeah, and Christine we've got a good person in this job. We really do. When you came out to me 3-4 years ago, and then exactly how long did it take you to complete that?
I became ADA coordinator of August of 18. I got my certification expeditiously, so I knew what I was doing in 6 months' time to the University of Missouri. And right away, I went to Jim with the flag. I'm like, we got to move on this, I think. And he understood, Jerry understood, and everyone else understood too. So it's good that we're compliant now.
Yeah. And she took that on. She came with all the information. So, that was wonderful. You all did a wonderful job. In addition to the advisory board, you have a phenomenal board there. They even go out to the beaches to check for access. Like most of them are in wheelchairs. Most of them, have quite a few disabilities, and they're in wheelchairs, and they're going out checking the beaches and making sure that the access was right on there. So you've got a committed group, and they get out there and do a lot. But that's a lot of kudos to you as well. So
Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
everyone should know too, you started with the stats of people with disabilities. Basically, everybody in this room is going to probably tap into the ADA at some point in their lives. As we age, we all need, modifications and accessibility. So it's just something to keep in mind.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Madam Chair, just understand, there's lots of money that go into the Office for the Disabled. It just runs through the Division of Intergenerational Services. There's a thing called the it's called the Aging and Disabled Resource Network. The county was, Lena County was the first office in New Jersey to have an office on aging and an office for the disabled. We've had this for, since I was involved, way back, and probably before me, because my predecessor actually had an office for the disabled director. We're going back into the late 70s, early 80s. So there is money. So if you said somebody, give me a disability, you would go to probably Chris Wilson, and Chris is on, and Chris would assign it to people within her division through another office, not necessarily the Office of Disability Services. It used to be called Office for the Disabled. Whatever, just so you understand.
How long it's been in existence, which is great. Commissioner Val said it was when you had dark hair.
Yes.
Or all all of us.
Just so everyone sitting here doesn't think we haven't done anything since 1998.
Oh, yeah.
I've been
No.
here almost 20 years, and every year we get CDBG money, and that's grant money that we use for ADA compliant doors. We've done all the libraries. We've done most buildings to have an ADA accessible with a door operator, ADA paddle. We've enlarged bathrooms, made them more handicap accessible, ADA accessible. And anytime we do any kind of new construction, we make sure that there's railings, proper ramps, but with the transition plan, I think we'll do a lot more
And
inside.
there was just a huge project along Fort Margate Ventnor and the engineering department, you have to follow ADA regulations, so we're up to date. That's why I knew going into this paper document they were looking for, that we had to have this, even though we are doing everything we can, as far as updating restroom handrails and wide opening of the doors. And with the HAVA grants through the Board of Elections, we dumped loads of money into that to be able to make our elections accessible. So yeah, I didn't mean to speak out of turn saying that. We that we do, which is why it's not really a lot of issues. And we're just looking at website, which is so kind of fresh and new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks,
Thank you.
Christine. Okay, and now we have quite a few gentlemen here. We're honoring the Egg Harbor Township Volunteer Fire Company for outstanding public service in response to 10 structure fires in the first 37 days of 2022. Mr. Fellows.
Thank you. Just gonna go to the podium, Madam Clerk, if you don't mind. Step over there.
Oh, boy. You're all looking at that wire.
That was 88.
And fire.
Yeah. So it's a great honor today to be able to recognize my fire department, the town in which I live, Egg Harbor Township Fire Department. About, I guess, a week and a half ago or so, I was talking with Mayor Paul Hodson, who's sitting in the back, and we got talking about the one major fire in which a Northfield police officer lost his entire house. And then 2 days passed, and there was another fire that went on, and a complete loss of a mobile home right behind the Super Wawa Fire Road in the Pike. And we got talking about, how many fires that, house fires that Egg Harbor Township has responded to. And actually, the fire chief, Rob Winkler, did an interview with Harry Hurley, which was a nice article was put out there to find out that at that time it was 9 structure fires, some kind of fire in a house, 2 major fires in the first 34 days of the year. And I contacted our great clerk here and asked that we put a resolution together and do these proclamations, these certificates to Egg Harbor Township fire departments. And then, of course, another fire happened a couple of days later. A major fire, general alarm out here in West Atlantic City in some condos. So they had to rip them up and start over and change it to 10. People don't realize the sacrifice that each and every member of a volunteer fire department gives. They, at any hour of the day or night, whether they're working or whether they're home with their family or whether they're sleeping, when that pager goes off, that phone rings, they're up and they're on their way, and they do whatever they got to do to make sure that they're there to save lives, save injuries, and save property. And I just got to say that in most towns that have volunteer fire departments, if it wasn't for the volunteer fire department, taxes would have to probably double in the towns in order to pay for a full-time paid fire department. And you'll see that a lot of volunteers are paid members in other municipalities also. And I'd like to say that Egg Harbor Township is the finest. They do a great job, and with them going out, and like I said, and to hear the story that Mayor Hodson tells, he was almost a half a block away, and the fire was so hot he could feel it then. And these guys are right up at the door, knocking this fire down and saving the houses on either side of that. Same thing with the mobile home. Everyone knows, you go in a mobile home park that, from me to where the firemen are sitting right now, that's how close them structures are. And other than some melted siding on the one building, it was just a total loss of the building, but not any of the neighboring sides on either one. So we have some certificates here. So I think we have representatives from each company, right, Rob?
Pretty close.
Okay, so come on up and we'll hand these out. And not only myself, but we also have Commissioner Risley and Commissioner Parker are both Egg Harbor Township residents also. You guys just want to line right up along there? This one's for you, Rob, as the chief of all the chiefs, the chief of the chiefs. So, do we have a representative of Scoville? Yep. There we go. West Atlantic City?
Oh, I couldn't be here, he had surgery.
Okay, so I'll take it from Wally. Thank you. I know it's a big deal.
No.
But, put your hand down. Representative Carter?
Me.
You? Okay. All right, here, you hold it, you can come later. Gene Sharp? There he is. Okay, and you're from Florida. So again, just want to, say thank you from the bottom of our hearts for what you guys do. And it should be noted that, in these fires, there was no injuries, loss of a couple of animals, correct? No injuries to any of the firefighters, no injury to the homeowners. So I think it's. Want to lose the mask for this one? The snow. Yeah, it was very cold. It was very, very cold. And, and another thing that, of course, I was told by the mayor, during that 14 or 18 inches of snow that we got, the fire chiefs have plows on their chief's cars. And as the ambulance would go on several calls during all that snow, they would have to go in front of the ambulance and plow that road so the ambulance could get there, because there's no ambulances that are four-wheel drive. So, not only are they fighting fires, they're out there helping with the ambulance squads and every other thing that you guys do, from handing out smoke detectors and everything else. We appreciate it. John, they're smiling or not?
Just briefly, I'd like to say that I feel great and I feel safe living in Egg Harbor Township. I know how hard you all work, five fire companies, and that you serve without any compensation, which is to me amazing. That you do what you do, and the gift of time is the greatest gift of all. I mean, you can't get any better than a gift of time. And I'm grateful as an Egg Harbor Township resident, and we really do appreciate all what you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Andrew, anything?
Love you guys. Keep it up.
All right, big smile. And the nice part, as you can see, we have young guys that are coming on board, to keep that cycle going, because we need them. I grew up with firefighter Ken Swinsey's dad, and I knew him when he was this big, and now he's, full-fledged firefighter, and, thank you so much, and stay safe out there. Thanks for what you do. Appreciate it. Phil, did you want to say anything?
No, you did it well.
Dusty.
So what Gene just told me is they've been on 126 calls so far this year.
Wow.
Okay, 126 calls.
Wow.
With many more to come. Again, thank you guys.
The one thing I want to say is,
Go ahead, sir.
everybody thinks we're paid departments. They don't realize that we're volunteers.
We realize
I
it.
know you
We
guys,
realize it.
the
We
general
appreciate
public
it.
thinks we're paid.
Exactly.
Madam Chair, I should have, hold on.
Hold on,
I think
guys.
we have-
Hold on one
I
second,
should
guys.
have mentioned, our mayor is here, Mayor Paul Hodson, so thank you very much for being here as
These guys
well.
are second to none. I listen to them all the time. Today, 2 minutes, there was a firefighter at heater fire in the skeletal section. So we're very fortunate at Egg Harbor Township to have this kind of service. I thank Frank and the freeholders, commissioners, for recognizing our fire departments. There's a lot of good work that's done in this county by volunteer firemen.
That's true.
And we respect them, we help them. I played fireman in my day in the city service point where Risley was a councilman. Okay, and this is what makes our community as strong as it is in Egg Harbor Township. So thanks again for the, I'm going to say freeholders, commissioners, for recognizing our fire department.
Absolutely, and I think Commissioner Gatto and
Yeah,
some
I just want to say with your point about, not knowing that you're volunteers. I live in Mays Landing. We have 5 volunteer fire departments as well. I live a block from one. And that alarm goes off every time there's a call. And our residents complain so much about it. And I advocate to keep it because to me, it's an important reminder of each and every time that a volunteer is getting on the road and heading to the fire department. And I know it's more for a safety perspective, but for me, it's meant to continue to have the message out there that these are volunteers giving their time. And I can't say enough thanks.
They won't complain if that's for their house.
That's exactly right.
I've said
That's
it all
exactly
along.
right. And I live next to it. It doesn't
When it
bother
comes to
me.
public safety, if you need a fire truck, you don't give a damn where it's going.
Exactly.
Okay.
So thank you.
All right, thank you. Sorry I didn't get dressed up. I thought it was 4:30 for some reason, but Mr. Parker corrected me. It was 4 o'clock. I was expecting fireworks.
Hold on, does any other commissioners have
Just,
any statements? I'm sorry?
Just again, as a resident of Galloway Township, I know all too well the importance of our volunteer fire departments. So I just, again, want to thank you and please go home and thank your family members as well for the support that they provide. So thank you again.
Okay. Thank you so much,
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I worked with your brothers.
Atlantic City, I retired out of Atlantic City.
Thank you. Okay, that brings us to ordinance number 1 for final reading.
Ordinance to vacate and share site easement previously dedicated to the County of Atlantic for cross block 1201.01 lot 9.01 in the Township of Galloway, final reading.
So moved. Second.
Commissioners have moved, made a second. Any commissioner comments? Okay, seeing none. Any comments from the public? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Horsey?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 51, please.
Grant application and acceptance from the New Jersey Office of Insurance Fraud Prosecutor to the County Prosecutor Insurance Fraud Reimbursement Program, amount not to exceed $250,000.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any commissioner comments? Seeing, hearing none. Anything from the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Horsey?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 52.
Grant application to the New Jersey Department of Children and Families Division of Children's System of Care for the Promising Path to Success 2.0 grant, amount not to exceed $10,000.
Motion.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing, hearing none. Anything from the public? Okay, roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Horsey?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 53.
Grant application and acceptance from the State of New Jersey Department of Law and Public Safety, Office of the Attorney General for the State Fiscal Year 2022 Law Enforcement Officers Training and Equipment Fund, amount not to exceed $16,467.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing, hearing none. Anything from the public? Okay, we have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Horsey?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Brings us to resolution 54.
Grant application to the Schools and Libraries Division of the Universal Service Administrative Company for the E-rate program, amount not to exceed $226,788.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing, hearing none. Anything from the public? Okay, we have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 55.
Grant application to the New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety for the 2022 Click It or Ticket Mobilization Program, amount not to exceed $35,000.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing and hearing none, anything from the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 56.
Grant application to the New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety for the 2022 Atlantic County Distracted Driving Campaign, amount not to exceed $40,000.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any comments from our commissioners? Seeing and hearing none, anything from the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Brings us to professional service agreements, Resolution 57.
Professional services agreement with various vendors for perishable food quotations and purchases, amount not to exceed $1,019,345.
Motion.
Second.
Motion has been made and second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing and hearing none, anything from the public? Okay, roll call, please.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 58.
Professional services agreement with Traffic Planning and Design Incorporated to provide inspection services for the resurfacing of Ocean Heights Avenue, sections 4 and 5 in Egg Harbor Township and Hamilton Township. Amount not to exceed $138,818.77.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any comments from the commissioners?
Madam Chair?
Commissioner?
Yes, just like to ask, I guess, Jerry or if our engineers are on, this engineering firm, I mean, I looked it up on the internet. I don't see anything local in Atlantic County offices. Maybe they have an office here that's not posted on their website. And if not, how come we're not using, I brought this up before, how come we're not using engineering firms that are located here in Atlantic County? And if this was bid out, I don't see anything in the backup for that.
Well, before I ask Mark, just so you know, it is professional services. Engineers are professional services contract, so it's an RFP, we don't bid them. But it's similar, you know, you do a specification and they quote on it, so. Mark, you're on, right? John?
Yes, I'm on, Jerry.
Yeah. Did you hear the question, you know?
I did. So, good afternoon, Commissioners. Mark Shorts, County Engineer here. Not necessarily to correct you, Jerry, but this particular job was bid out. This is a federally funded project, and federally funded projects go through a different RFP process for inspectors. We do not pull the inspectors off the pool in federally funded projects. We are mandated to put them out to bid. The bid is their proposals are reviewed in accordance with a standard that it's approved by the DOT and the Federal Highway Administration. So it's a graded bid, and so it's almost as if we don't select them. They are selected through the system, and so this was the selected firm through the federal bid. The reason why it's coming to the commissioners is that we've done this with all the federal bids, and there was a time when we weren't doing any federal projects. We were always doing the TTF swap, and the monies were running through the DOT. But the SJTPO, as well as some other MPOs, have determined to implement the federal funding process, and so we're under that process. Not all of our projects are funded federally. Some of them are still funded through the tax dollars, the gas tax project, which is coming through the state. It's not under the Federal Highway Administration federal funding. This project is federally funded job, and that's why the process took this way, and that's why this particular bidder is not on the county's yearly pool and is basically selected for us. I know it's a long way around to explain it, but I wanted everybody to realize that this is not the norm, and it's kind of out of our hands.
Thank you, John. Do we have any other comments or questions for the commissioners?
No, Madam Chair, just FYI, there's a car alarm going off at the corner of the front of the lot out across the street if it's anybody's car.
You know which one it is?
I can't see through the through the trees.
Can't tell.
It's like the closest to the light.
Is it a black car?
It might be black.
I think it's my car.
Can you see the lights flash?
I can see the lights, I can't see make and model.
Okay, but it's black. Just want to make sure it's not mine. Yeah, right.
Proceed, I'll be right back, I'll turn it off if it's mine.
I can see the
Let me
lights
click it
flashing.
from here.
Yep.
Yeah. I left my bionic eyes at home.
No, I'm sorry, it's a white truck. Official report, white truck.
White truck?
Yep.
County seal on it?
Does anybody have a white truck?
I'm not going there.
Yeah?
It's like-
Off, it's off.
It's off.
It's off.
I think I just heard it go off.
Basically, you have to talk louder, the people in the back can't hear when you talk.
Well, there's a white truck with an alarm going.
It's
It's
off.
off.
We're good.
It's off.
Let's hope not.
Okay.
He hit it. Let's see.
So we don't have any other commissioner, we will announce later who that was. Any commissioner, comments, any more from the public? No comments from the, public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Alice.
Yes.
Bertino.
Yes.
Corsi.
Yes.
Days.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Gatto.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Risley.
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. That brings us to resolution 59, already crossed it off.
Professional services agreement to establish the 2022-2023 appraisal services pool amount not to exceed $135,000.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made in second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing, hearing none, anything from the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas.
Yes.
Bertino.
Yes.
Corsi.
Yes.
Days.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Gatto.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Risley.
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. And resolution 60.
Professional services agreement with Laughing Bear Incorporated to provide Prison Rape Elimination Act auditing services at Harbor Fields Juvenile Detention Center amount not to exceed $3,800.
Motion.
Second.
Motion has been made in second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing, hearing none, anything from the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas.
Yes.
Bertino.
Yes.
Corsi.
Yes.
Days.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Gatto.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Risley.
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 61.
Professional services agreement with various vendors for the provision of library goods and services amount not to exceed $708,735.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made in second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing, hearing none, anything from the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas.
Yes.
Bertino.
Yes.
Corsi.
Yes.
Days.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Gatto.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Risley.
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. That brings us to resolution 62.
Professional services agreement with various vendors for alcoholism treatment services amount not to exceed $580,414.
Motion.
Second.
Motion has been made in second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing, hearing none, anything from the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas.
Yes.
Bertino.
Yes.
Corsi.
Yes.
Days.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Gatto.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Risley.
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. That brings us right into change orders with resolution 63.
Change order number 1, a contract with Gaudelli Brothers Incorporated, mechanical contractors for heating, ventilation, air conditioning upgrades at the Atlantic County Municipal Courthouse Inmates Landing to extend the term date only, no additional cost.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made in second. Any comments or questions from the commissioners? Seeing, hearing none, anything from the public? Okay, a roll call.
Ballas.
Yes.
Bertino.
Yes.
Corsi.
Yes.
Days.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Gatto.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Risley.
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. That brings us to leases with Resolution 64.
Lease agreement with Halawasa Incorporated for use of facilities to conduct 48-hour intoxicated driver resource center program. Amount not to exceed $32,250.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made second. Any comments or questions from the commissioners? Seeing, hearing none. Anything from the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 65.
Lease agreement with S&T Realty Limited Liability Company concerning property at 801 Atlantic Avenue, Egg Harbor City, to accommodate the Atlantic County Board of Elections, amount not to exceed $192,000.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made second. Any comments of the commissioners? Seeing, hearing none. Anything from the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Now we're going into our miscellaneous with Resolution 66.
Amending Resolution Number 724, adopted December 21, 2021, an intergovernmental services agreement to extend the term date for the management contract of the Harbor Fields Juvenile Detention Center to extend the term date only, no additional cost.
Motion.
Second.
Motion's been made and second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing, hearing none. Anything from the public? We'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 67.
Intergovernmental Service Agreement with the Board of Education of the Buno Regional School District for the provision of library services at the Buno Regional High School, an amount not to exceed $10,500.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing, hearing none. Anything from the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Brings us to Resolution 68.
Shared Services Project Management Agreements and other agreements with Atlantic County Improvement Authority and Cape May County to provide project management services for redevelopment projects in Cape May County.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing, hearing none. Anything from the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Brings us Resolution 69.
Agreement with the parish of St. Monica for shelter and food services for the homeless during the Code Blue Declaration. Amount not to exceed $108,000.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing, hearing none. Anything from the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Brings us to Resolution 70.
Resolution authorizing the sale of surplus vehicles and obsolete computer equipment through an online auction, revenue generating.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing, hearing none. Anything from the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 71, please.
Annual designation of Atlantic County's Public Agency Compliance Officer pursuant to NJAC 17:27-3.3.
Motion.
Second.
Motion has been made and second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing none. Anything from the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. We're at Resolution 72.
Bid contract with Boardwalk Construction Limited Liability Company for roof replacements at the Farmington facility and Superintendent of Elections. Amount not to exceed $332,177.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and second. Any comments from the commissioners?
From Pleasantville, New Jersey.
Any comments from the public? Okay, seeing, hearing none, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes. Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 73.
Alternate method contract with USA Architects Design in addition to the Atlantic County Justice Facility, amount not to exceed $997,150.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any comments from the commissioners?
Madam Chair.
Yep.
Through you to Jerry. Jerry, I wasn't at the last meeting, so I don't know. I think we had questioned this once before. Did we ever get feedback from Hamilton Township as to what our plans were out there at the Justice Facility to build a jail in addition to the jail? Was there any comment back from them yet?
No, we haven't gone to them yet. We hired the architect, it's part of the architect's responsibility to go sit down with the town.
Okay.
I have spoken with the mayor and the police chief to get their feedback. I would say that the biggest concern is around the release of inmates in the town. And I did highlight that the Cumberland County agreement states that the Cumberland County inmates would have to be transported back to Cumberland County for release. And I think if we, make any other agreements with any other counties, that would kind of have to be a standard operating procedure with what we want to do. I think that was the biggest concern. I think the other concern is really just about ensuring that we have enough, when I say we, I mean the corrections has enough staffing to, handle the size of inmates that we would have there sufficiently and not, be kind of constantly requiring the backup of the PD to handle, that level of residents.
So I guess from the gist of what you're telling me, they discussed about the issues that could occur. Are they satisfied with the project scope that they're seeing that's being presented? Because once we move forward hiring an architect, there is no stopping this thing going forward. In other words, they know what they're getting over there.
I gave, highlights because some of our discussion was in executive session. I didn't go into great
No, you
detail.
couldn't do that.
Right. So, it might be worth, if we're allowed to bring them under the tent of some of those discussions and the data, it might be worth having a deep dive with them.
I mean, for me, just for me speaking for myself, which I have no problem doing, I think initially, and we had this discussion before, when we talked about bringing in prisoners from outside, whether it be from Cumberland or Burlington, we talked about utilizing the facility because we were, as far as the inmates in there, we were losing money. We didn't have it near capacity. So we took these outside, the counties, and we used them to obviously to provide a service for them, but also it generated some income because we have staff that's already in place working there day to day. It was more efficient. So when we initially talked about that, my concern has been, and I think I've expressed this already prior to, is once we make the commitment to do this for a county, you're in the jail business and you're going to have to we could do agreements back and forth with Cumberland and or whoever, but you're now taking on this facility here in Atlantic County. Money will be worked out, I'm sure, about staff and all that, but I don't know if everybody in Hamilton understands, so they're aware of what it is we're presenting to build in their hometown. I know if I was living in Hamilton, I'd be asking you, and I'd be asking my elected officials, what exactly is the scope of the thing you're doing? For me to move forward and hire an architect and move forward like I have plans to go forward, well, to me, I'm kind of asking the wrong question at the wrong time. That's the kind of question I should be having in the discussions. I know the architect is supposed to go out and present all that, but authorizing the board here to go ahead with the funding to start the process, you're going with the process. I don't see where there's an opportunity for us to come back after the money's being spent and say, well, let's take a look at what we were actually proposing. So for me, as far as I stand on this, so the board knows, I'm not going to vote in favor of the resolution as it is.
Mr. Del Rosso, do you have any comments on any of the comments that are being made?
No, I mean, I think they have the numbers. I mean, I think everybody has the numbers. I think there were several issues, one of which was the salaries. And again, that's a union contract. It means we gotta negotiate the salary. You're just not gonna raise those salaries. And as I explained to the jail committee, once you start raising, in particular in public safety, I talk about public safety. Once you raise the jail, you then have the sheriff, and you have your superior officers in the jail, the superior officers in the sheriff, and then you have the detectives in the prosecutor and their superior officers. They all make the most money in the county. So I'm just telling you that's the evolution. So there's a negotiated contract. And I think I also explained recently to the jail committee, I got asked the question. So is salary the biggest issue at the jail? No, it is not. I mean, I think the warden was here and he explained the biggest issue for the jail, at least in Atlantic County, as it is in every other county, but I can't speak for the other counties, was the fact that you have civil service. And civil service requires us to have the individuals take the test. The list lasts for 3 years, and you keep getting the same people in every single time once you go through the list. And those lists remain very large. Now, I mentioned that there was 500 people on the list. I was told after the meeting that actually the list, they send you 500 names, but there's really 1,000 people on the list. So once you go through the 500 or 300 that you get, you're going to continue to get the names. And I got to be honest with you. Those individuals are not, they don't meet the criteria. I mean, they take the test, you pass the test. Most people don't understand when they take a test exactly what the qualifications are for the job. Once you sit down with the staff at the jail, they begin to explain the job to you. Most of the people don't want the job. So what the New Jersey Association of Counties did, they went back to the legislature and explained to the legislature the deterrent that civil service provided. And so what happened was that they passed a legislation now allows the local jails to go do their own job fairs and then do the interviews. So recently, I think the warden explained he had 80 people come in. I think there were 30 people that they selected out of the 80. And now what will happen is we do have regular vacancies. They're beginning to go through and send them through for their psychologicals. And I guess if they pass their psychologicals, then they would be put into a class at the academy. So that's where we are with respect to the staffing.
So, Commissioner Ballas had mentioned that, I think Commissioner Bertino had mentioned that there's no going back if we found any negatives, if we say yes to this resolution.
No, that's not true. I mean, if we got into the discussions and we got a lot of pushback, it would probably be, we would probably stop the process. I don't know what else to say. We've done it in the past. We did with you have to say it's Central Dispatch. Got out there, everybody said, yeah, it's a great idea. You get out there, and the next thing you know, somebody says it's not a good idea, and you stop in the middle of the process, or 3/4 or a quarter of the way, depending on where you are in the process. One of the things I think, we mentioned staff. The other issue that came up and I think Commissioner Gatto said, most people forget that the jail presently, forgetting everything else, 40% of the people in there are not from Atlantic County. I think what we all forget is it's the same way with the homeless. If you go back and you look at where the people are coming from, this is a resort town. The resort towns attract lots of people. Not only Atlantic County, you go to Cape May, not as much as Cape May. If you go up the line, you go through Ocean, you go through Monmouth. Most of their issues is that we're going to have are from people coming from the outside. So 40% in our jail are non-county. They're out of state, out of county. I don't know what else to say. So, I mean, it's not unusual for us to have that kind of population at the Atlantic County Jail. That was another issue. I think the question was raised about the finances. So if you go through and you take a fully loaded revenue and a fully loaded cost analysis, and depending on what, in terms of the construction that you're going to build, you're at that first year, you're roughly around, at 18 years for the structure, the debt service, you're about $144,000, then you're about $400,000, then you're a little bit over $500,000, somewhere in that range. However, if everything stayed the same going into the second year, you don't have the design. The design's roughly $1 million. So in your second year, how much money are you making? You're making 1.1 million, you're making 1.4 million, you're making 1.5 million. So I mean, those were the key questions that I think I got asked. What actually does this do for us? The other issues, I mean, you know, that the warden brought up is part of the design was to give him a new admissions area, which is key for him. It was when you bring the people in, it was a better processing area and where you keep the inmates during processing. That's a big issue for him. I don't know if you've ever been out at the jail. If you've gone through admissions, you'll see the area is much smaller than he would have liked it, and it's not laid out, you know, it was laid out, as you know, in like 1983, 84, 85, because I think it was finally back in 85. So that would help him tremendously. The other area is his ability to add in counseling rooms, things like that he doesn't have enough of now. And this would give him that latitude to do that. So from that perspective, that was another issue that I think was raised. You know, and I think we got to the point where we're saying, you know, I don't know how many more times we should just take the vote. I mean, that's the issue. I think that's really the concern. This would allow, depending on how it goes, would either allow us to move forward or at least allow us to tell Cumberland County, you know, you're going to have to look at some other another way to do your inmates. And we'll continue to take the females. I mean, that's one of the issues. We are taking their females right now.
Just one other statement
Yeah.
too, and not for you, Jerry, it's just in general terms. I understand what you're saying, but I don't believe that anybody here at the board ever will tell the warden when they need something at our facility that we wouldn't be in favor of putting up the money to fix and repair anything they ask for. Because we're doing it here for Atlantic County. If there's a concern that he has, and he has expressed it, which I know we all heard him say that, you know, about the the area where the inmates are being brought in, then I'd be okay with hiring the architect to go do the design work and put on whatever addition he needs there to make that facility amenable to him and safer for the staff and the inmates. I have no problem doing that. This, of course, to me is looking at part of that, and we're taking a bigger chunk of the project. When I'm saying, well, I'm putting up the $1 million to have the architect do that, well, maybe I don't have to do it that way. So that's only my concern. The board can decide whatever they want to do, but they're my thoughts.
Okay, thank you. I was serving on the jail committee as well, and I certainly want to endorse everything that Commissioner Bertino has stated. Anytime the jail needs something, I'm supporting it 100%. There's no question about it. On this particular topic of building a large addition, my vote is going to be no, and I'll tell you why. I'm not convinced that the cost numbers are correct. I think in order to do this properly, if you were going to do it at all, you would need a far more detailed report as to a full cost analysis. I'm just not comfortable with the cost projections. If we decide to do this, then we are really in the jail business, because then in order to make this work, in order to make a profit, and that's what we're talking about here. I'm all in favor of shared services like everyone else. I have a tie on of all the symbols of all the counties in the state of New Jersey, but I'm looking out for Atlantic County. And that's my point. Atlantic County would be taking on all the risk with us as well. And, you know, running a jail is a tough job. There's lots of pitfalls. There's lots of things that can go wrong. Right now, we're at max now. If we're going to go into the jail business, we're going to be spending an estimated $20-some million, whatever the number is going to be, to put this addition on. I'm just not comfortable with the numbers at all. The people that are going to be in the prison are going to be the most hardened of criminals. It's going to take skilled people to handle this, and I just am not comfortable with the numbers. I've looked at them and looked at them and looked at them, and Normally, I would support the administration on this 100%, but in this case, I don't. The location of the jail and the terrain that's going to look different out there after the ACIT expansion, that has me concerned as well. I think the real answer to this problem is to have a couple counties go together and decide where to locate a modern facility that's up to date and fully staffed, and there's some equality there between the counties. But for us to take all this on, it's a huge, huge commitment which is going to bind the county for many, many, many years. And this is not the type of decision that you make, you know, on a WebEx meeting or on a phone call. This is the type of decision that requires detailed, thought-out analysis with different scenarios. That's what it requires. And I'm simply not comfortable with the numbers.
Madam Chair? Thank you. Yeah, so being involved with the jail committee, actually being the chair now, thank you, Ernie. I've taken the same position I took when this was put forward back, I guess, November. I have a lot of concerns, you know, with it. You know, one of the things that, in my opinion, that we learn is, first of all, you know, we have a jail that's, you know, probably approaching its usable life, you know, about 40 years old, and to take and put 4 new pods and a couple other little tchotchkes in there on an older building, to me doesn't make sense. I'm totally in favor, like John said, finding a location somewhere in the rural part of Atlantic County and building a new facility that could you know, house, you know, our prisoners. I'm really still not in favor of bringing prisoners in from another county, but if that's what we have to do to help offset the cost, I could live with that. But you know, the prisoners of today and the future are not the prisoners of yesterday. With bail reform, the only people that are in jail are the worst of the worst. They're the ones that are awaiting sentencing. They're the ones that are awaiting trial. They're the ones that are in there for gun charges, serious narcotic charges, for homicide, and looking to bring 250 inmates in from Cumberland County. I don't think it's, in my opinion, spending any money to bring criminals to our county is wrong. Cumberland County has a worse gang problem in Cumberland County than what we have in Atlantic County. I don't think we need that element here. Especially, we're getting ready to spend $53.5 million to expand ACIT, our premier high school. Okay, and the only thing that separates the property of the school and the jail is a fence. Okay, during my 9 years of sheriff, there was 2 escapes from the justice facility. One, where a guy went over the fence when he was out in the courtyard, was found by Hamilton Township Police Department in a neighborhood, just in his boxer shorts at night, walking the neighborhood. They ran the guy and found out that he was in the jail, or he should have been in the jail. They called the jail and said, no, he's committed here. Until they did a head count, found out that no, he isn't. He's in Hamilton Township. Okay? Another one really wasn't the jail's fault. It was Hamilton Township bringing someone there as they took him out of the car, because they couldn't get into the Sally Port because of, like Jerry said, it needs to be redesigned. He got out, went under the gate, and was gone for probably about close to 24 hours before he was located in Hamilton Township. We don't need any mistakes happening around our school, around our children. To me, it's a safety issue with our students, our residents of this county. Yes, we have to take care of our prisoners from Atlantic County. We have to make sure our facility is top notch, and everything needs to be done. And whatever we need to spend to make sure that we're taking care of our prisoners, our inmates here from Atlantic County. But to spend money to bring and entice criminals or inmates to come in from another county, I can't swallow that. And as Jim, stated, we're looking at spending a couple dollars short of $1 million. Do we want to spend $1 million and then stop it a quarter way, halfway, or 3/4 away through the process and just throw $1 million away. $1 million to me is a lot of money, and that can go to our employees and not to an architect that's not from this county. And that's basically the way I feel on it.
Did you have something?
I mean, my colleagues basically said it all. However, as the former chair of the jail committee, we have received so many, and I've had this conversation with Jerry and others, so many complaints of the condition of the jail as is today. And we've done, most of us, I think, have done a tour in the jail and knew the conditions or know the conditions of the jail. It leaves a lot to be desired in terms of a just shy of $1 million into architectural drawing, et cetera. And there's some concerns that still need to be answered, as you indicated. What's Hamilton Township saying? What other townships are saying? And yes, it's been revenue generated from other municipalities, and it's been talked about in our budget committees and jail committees, et cetera. And so, listening to most of the colleagues, maybe it may not be a bad idea if we pull it, opposed to voting it down. Try to come to some type of common ground, if there is one, to go forward. But I would agree. I mean, Steve Young, I saw him come in there earlier. Hell, he's fighting with me all the time about the conditions of the county jail now, et cetera. So we need to see if, in fact, it's worth moving forward in terms of building a new facility. And is it going to come back to the old saying, not in my neighborhood, right? Because God knows that they could put the jail in Atlantic City, they'd probably be glad to put it in Atlantic City than to put it in any other town, because everything gets dumped into Atlantic City. But be as it may, the fact of the matter is that I don't think it's uncommon if we pulled it, talk to the townships, that you said, Hamilton Township, what are their real concerns? And everybody's going to have a concern. It's like your mission, Atlantic City Rescue Mission. Everybody comes to the mission. They're not from Atlantic City. But the minute a crime happens, they said they were in Atlantic City and they're from Atlanta. It's not true. At the same time, if you get let out of the county jail, they may not be from Atlanta County. And so I would suggest to the administration at this time, maybe we pull it, have more dialogue. I don't think it's an urgency, earth-shattering that we move on it today because it's going to stop something tomorrow. I'm sure some architect will be happy to get this almost $1 million, but it takes me back to the subject, Jerry. I think there may only be 2 members up here left. When we argued about 2 things. One was the countywide dispatch. We spent all that money. Wanted to do a countywide dispatch, and it didn't happen. Taxpayers' expense. And then we talked about shared services or countywide fire department. So we went through all of that. We spent a lot of money, and it didn't materialize. What we don't need to do is repeat those things again, putting out $1 million right now. And at the end of the day, like you said, either stop it or everybody just comes out opposed to it. So probably, Madam Chair, I would recommend to you through the administration, why don't we pull it, opposed to a vote no, and see where we go from there.
Yeah, and you know what, I happen to agree with you, mostly because people still have questions here. It'll be voted down if we don't have those questions answered. This is something that's very, something that we really have to look at very strongly before we make that final decision. So, I mean, did anybody else have anything to say?
Yeah, I mean, I just, I tend to agree with what everybody said. I mean, I guess it happens sometimes when you speak last or close to last. Anything to support our corrections officers and their safety, their well-being, and the quality provided to the inmates as well. I mean, obviously, and I know it's an over 30-year-old facility. I'd have no problem, looking at replacing our present facility. The way this is worded, I know that's not all that's included. It says to design an addition. That I can't support. I can support changing what the warden likes and what the officers need out there. But as far as bringing in and building on just to support another inmates from another county, at this time I can't do that.
No, Chair. Yeah, I think during our jail committee meetings, the comment was made from county administration, Jerry, this is going on too long, especially we're involving another county that has to make decisions. So before we pull it, I think it should be, if the recommendation is from administration to pull it, if not, I don't believe that the county wants to drag this out any longer. They need to move forward and make decisions instead of postponing this to get questions answered. So I would defer, if you feel obliged, to defer to Jerry before we pull
Yeah,
the
I'm not,
table.
yeah, I'm not gonna speak for Jerry or anybody, but, first of all, Commissioner Fitzpatrick.
I just, everything that was said is very, very valid in my opinion. And of course, we always support our corrections officers and law enforcement. But what really got my attention was we didn't talk to Hamilton Township before doing, well, but in an official capacity.
Right, yeah.
And we know that, nothing about us without us, right? You have to talk to
And
them
they've got the
first.
jail.
Exactly,
I think we
so
should
I
have
think
there.
that was a misstep and
I live
needs
the
to be
closest
done.
to it, so. No, I happen to agree with that.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big part of this.
Yeah, Madam Chair, if I may, I think I like the idea, and Jerry might not, but I do like the idea of tabling in favor of, and I did discuss this with Commissioner Risley as well, understanding the difference between the cost for the addition that would go along with the Cumberland County agreement potentially, and then the cost of, what ideally updates or additions or whatever we would want to make just as Atlantic County, and what does that cost look like? I would like to know the difference in the numbers there. Number one. One of the other, concerns I had again was around our corrections staff being, staffed enough. I know right now they're plagued with overtime. They're working relentlessly, and we, are constantly seeking new corrections officers. I would love to see us be adequately staffed for what we have before we have to go look for 40 more or whatever the number is. And, again, making sure that our corrections officers are safe in the job that they are doing and potentially could be doing. So I would be in favor of tabling for that deeper analysis of, without the Cumberland agreement, what would we want to do? What would that cost look like? And what would that timeline look like?
Do I have a motion to table?
Well, Madam Chair, before we do that, also keep in mind, when we talk in terms of a new jail, this is not just for Cumberland County. When they send those folks, whoever's in that county jail would have to move around as well. But the focus is that we've got to take care home first. 40-year-old facility, it's
Right,
got some
exactly.
problems, and we did a tour, we saw where the water was leaking from the showers down. I mean, some of that stuff has been addressed, but it's still an old facility.
Right.
You're not gonna get any more rum out of the old facility, but it's still an old facility. And so, which brings me back to my point, if the majority of this board is saying they're not in favor of the date, so why do a no vote and saying to the administration, if they're inclined to pull it, go back, and let's talk about the local issues for Atlantic County. I think that's workable, because what you don't want to do is get a no vote, and it looks like it's a no vote. I know you put a lot of time into it. We've talked about it again in Budget Committee and Jail Committee. It's just a suggestion, Madam Chair, to the administration. It's their call, it's their resolution. Even though we get to vote on it, they present it to the board.
I know it gets frustrating, but I
Well,
just
the
feel
issue,
that.
the issue that I think Commissioner Gatto raised, in order to do what Commissioner Gatto said, you need an architect, or you need an engineer to do a design. You need to sit with the warden, I'm pointing over there because I think Mike's on, the warden's not on, but Mike's on, which means you'd have to put the staff together. You'd have to have that architect / engineer to sit with them and go through what they think is the appropriate plan for the existing facility. Because if I hear this correctly, we're not doing this, you can't bring Cumberland County here. So I want to make sure I understand that if you're telling me we want to go sit with the staff, work through what we need to do in terms of modifications or renovations to the jail, we'd have to get an architect on board and do that. If it's not gonna include Cumberland County, I wanna make sure I understand this. It's not gonna include Cumberland County.
Correct.
What are we tabling? Why would we table this?
Exactly.
Because if you table it, and you tell me that we come up with a plan by talking to our jail staff, and that we would then have a plan. What happens when we go to Hamilton Township and they say, yeah, well, we really don't have a say over it anyway. If you want to go do it, we don't like it, but you could do it if you wanted to do it. I mean, you all know that. I mean, everybody knows that. The county government doesn't do that. So if the town said, we don't want you to do this, we probably wouldn't do it, quite truthfully. But we don't need their approval to do it. So I'm saying to you, let's just say they say, yeah, go ahead if you think it's a good idea. Would that change everybody's mind here? I'm just asking.
So what happens, Madam Chair, Chair, not to cut you off, Madam Chair. So what happens if we change the resolution and the language reads that this architect is strictly to go into to modify what we have?
Yeah.
Opposed to the original plan was to go out for architecture drawing for a new facility.
Yeah.
That would include Cumberland County, because that's what it all came down to.
Okay.
And I'm just suggesting that if that's the case, we move forward, if that's the case, with the architecture drawing, with the retrofits of what we have now for Atlantic County and on Atlantic County only. But the language just have to read that the administration doesn't go out to do something totally different. If this board was to vote on this resolution. I just throw it out there. I don't know what my colleague's theory is on it.
Madam Chair? So, the way I understand it is this architect was picked through a non-bid process because he was designing a facility in Cumberland County. And it would save Atlantic County money by using his design that he already has, that he can plug and play into the design for our justice facility. Right. So if we're going to, which we should, get an architect like Jerry said and improve our justice facility, make the repairs that need to be made, okay? And that should go out to bid, and hopefully it's somebody local. Not somebody that has a design sitting on his shelf that's going to charge us $1 million to plug it into Atlantic County's facility. So that's where I'm at. And this resolution is basically pigeonholed into this firm for 4 pods.
Yeah.
So by tabling it, as Jerry said, it does nothing. If our plan is to move forward with improving the justice facility and not take 250 inmates from Cumberland County, that's great, but this resolution doesn't do that. So tabling, I think, is not good for us. I think that we either vote it up or we vote it down, and that way Cumberland County and Atlantic County administrations can figure out where they're going, what direction they're going in, instead of being in a holding pattern again since November.
Just so you remember, we owe them $400,000 when we wrote this down. We took the money and we did some renovations, which we had agreed to do.
Right.
To take some of their inmates, and we've taken, as I said, we've taken the females. We haven't taken the males because there were some issues with having the proper staffing and the location where we were going to put them.
Fine, we'll save 500,000, giving their money out of the 900,000, we're gonna pay the architect to design it. Look, you're way ahead.
Is any of that prorated because we're taking their females?
No, just that they give us the revenue, that's, we get the revenue.
So we'll get that revenue.
Madam Chair, I would suggest what Frank is saying as well. These are 2 separate issues, and I think all of us, and I don't want to speak for everybody, but I think all of us will support the warden and any additions or fixes he needs at the jail. I think all of us would gladly support that.
Right.
And we keep the issues separate. We shouldn't table this. We should just vote it up or down and then proceed with the next step. Nice and clean.
Any public comments? Okay. Is it on up?
Yeah.
Mic is on.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, how you doing? Nick Procaccini, Mays Landing, New Jersey. I work over at the jail, so maybe I could help you out with some questions here. But the main thing that I heard was that caught my attention was Mr. Ballas said shared services. So when you work at a jail and you hear the word shared services, you think of regionalization, which my question would be is, for me personally, what do you do with 200 officers and their families and everything? I know you're just touching base with it, but when I hear shared services, I think of getting rid of jobs in the county. And that's kind of what I got from that. So I just want to see if Mr. Ballas can clarify that, if he's for that or against that, because that's what scares everyone there. And the salaries issues, just so you get a little touch of it, the salaries, the staffing at the jail can be fixed very, very easily. The starting salary for a correction officer is $17 an hour right now. Nobody wants to work at a jail for $17 an hour right now. So staffing issues is based off of salary right now. So that's an easy fix. And just to get this clear, we are in favor of adding this addition on. We want job security. We love our jobs. We do a great job. Yeah, but these words, when I start, this is what I heard in Gloucester County before their freeholders meetings, the shared service, it starts to get scary. So I just want to see is that the route you're going, or can you clarify that? Because then I don't want 200 scared officers in 4 or 5 years, they don't have a job because what's going on here.
We're discussing the resolution, that's all.
So I didn't say anything about, Frank Ballas, I didn't say anything about shared services. I think that was you, John, who mentioned shared services.
Well, yeah, but right now we're just discussing the jail.
Yeah, so I mean, I think
we
what
need to
Mr. Procaccini is talking about is that, as you all know, at one time there was this proposal that 5 Southern Jersey counties go together, which we did. We sat through, we went through the procedures and everything. We didn't think it was a good idea because the jail was going to be placed, we think, too far from Helena County. And we, with that said, we didn't think that our officers were going to get hired. And so we don't want to just go do something and then not have the officers have jobs. So we elected not to do that. We then got another offer to do something, which again was a little bit too far away, a regional jail, and we elected not to do that as well because we didn't think our officers would get a shot at the jobs because it would have been too far. I mean, the travel would have been excessive. This obviously was for us was a way to solidify the jail, solidify the jobs that we have. The jail is not going away. I mean, you all know that. With the going away, jail will never go away. No. What he's talking about is regionalizing the jail. Then you have that issue. Regionalizing a jail meaning you take 2 or 3 counties and putting them in one location. That then creates a whole set of issues.
Yeah, I think we can, Madam Chair, if I can, I think we can state for the record that none of us are in favor of laying off our 200 corrections officers. And none of us, I don't think any of us are in favor of shutting down our jail, and that's why we're talking about needed improvements.
Okay, so Nick, do we answer your question?
Yes, pretty much.
The best we could.
You guys do a great job. Thank you.
Thank you. You do it best.
Don't shut me down.
Never.
Do we have any other comments?
Yeah, and there's no plan. There's no discussion at all of shutting the jail down, and nor would anything like that happen in the next 4 to 5 years.
We're only talking about this resolution.
Right,
for hiring an architect.
And we still have people from the public.
Somebody else?
No? But you said you had another
Anybody
person
here?
now.
Anybody here?
That was it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Anybody here have any questions or comments in regards to this resolution? Okay, seeing none? We'll have a vote.
Ballas?
No.
Rutino?
No.
Corsi?
No.
Days?
No.
Fitzpatrick?
No.
Gatto?
No.
Parker?
No.
Risley?
No.
And Kern?
No. Motion carries. Okay, that brings us to resolution 75.
Competitive contract with Mercadian.
How many more?
We already did 4.
74.
Resolution 74.
Competitive contract with Mercadian PC for the provision of auditing services, amount not to exceed $169,100.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any commissioner comments? Seeing, hearing none, anything from the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Horsey?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. That brings us down to resolution 75.
Could we make a motion for 75 through 80?
I'll second that.
Can I have a motion to,
Yeah, I made a motion to combine it
I
up,
second.
75 through 80.
okay, motion's carried.
No.
We have a,
Second.
We have a second.
we have a motion and a second. We have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Horsey?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes.
We didn't
now
we didn't open it to the public
Now we have to
for
open the public.
any of the appointments. I mean,
And I don't think everybody's here, are they? Yeah, I think we're checking to see if
Why
anybody's here.
don't you just offer it up and give the public opportunity?
Okay.
Madam Chair, that'd be my thought, just to clean it
Oh,
up.
yeah. So we're open to the public on these appointments, if anybody would like to make any comments. Okay, thank you. And again, we appreciate the people that are stepping up to take these appointments to help all of us. Okay.
all right.
Madam Chair,
81.
can I just request that on the next resolution, we take the public comment first before we have our commissioner comments, so we don't have to keep repeating ourselves after their comments?
I'm not
Is that
sure we
okay?
need to do that.
Typically,
Yeah.
yeah, I think you gotta give the public
Thing and then
the
open the
opportunity.
public.
Yeah.
I think, Frank. I'm not gonna tell you I'm certain on that, but generally that's my
Yeah.
understanding of
Yeah.
it, Madam Chair.
No. He's
We have to
saying
say
public comment
Public
before
comment
commissioner
before we make our commissioners' comments, because we're gonna make comments after the public makes comments anyway.
Right.
No.
I mean, my thought would be, go through your normal process, but just be strict to the timeframes.
Right.
And once
Right.
the public's done, you all can talk if you need to. That's
Okay.
my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, prior to resolution 81, I just want to make a comment that this matter concerns a really sensitive subject. That is a law enforcement matter involving the privacy and welfare of juveniles. And there are court cases that have either been resolved or are pending in our judicial system. Citizens have been to multiple meetings and they are clearly passionate about this subject. We have many of them here again this evening. There seems to be legitimate concerns about ensuring the safety of Atlanta County's children. I want it to be clear that the Board of Commissioners is not in charge of overseeing the situation. We're not a law enforcement agency, and we do not have the oversight of state agencies. But we believe that the appropriate authorities should investigate the situation to ensure state services are provided with appropriate care for our Atlanta County children. Okay, we'll go to resolution 81.
Resolution requesting the governor's office and the attorney general's office to investigate, identify, and correct processes in state agencies to make sure vulnerable children have proper professional care. Sponsors Frank X. Ballas and James A. Bertino.
Madam Chair.
Make a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, and we have comments from the commissioners. Do you want to go first?
Madam Chair, on advice from the attorneys, I need to recuse myself, so I will step out.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Bertino?
Madam Chair, I'm gonna just like to reserve my comment until after public session.
For those of you that have been coming to the meetings, you brought to us some issues concerning something that happened here in Atlanta County. And as the commissioners here, we take your comments and what you say to heart, especially because we're dealing with the health and safety of our family, our children, the most vulnerable in our community. As some of you know, and as the chair has expressed, there is some litigation, there is some stuff that's going on in the legal process. So as commissioners, I thought it was important for us to make a statement and ask the state of New Jersey to go back and to review their processes to ensure that something like that may have occurred, whatever it may have been at the state level, doesn't ever occur again. I mean, let's face it, we're here to protect our families, and the citizens we represent. The most vulnerable are children. They should have people looking out for them. So your passion for you all coming here, expressing your concerns, I appreciate that, and I know the rest of the commission did, because we feel the same way as you do. It was an easy one for us to do. So that's why we presented the resolution for consideration by the board today. This to us is a no-brainer. This should never occur in any situation, not in this particular one that's happening. I don't know the particulars about the person involved. I don't know. Not interested in that. This whole process, I'm interested in what happens, that it doesn't occur again. And that's why I think as a board, this resolution is being presented. And we've also included not only the Attorney General's office and the Governor's office, of course, to review. We're looking to send it to all the legislators in Atlantic County that represent us and get them behind this to push this resolution forward at the state level as well.
And I absolutely agree. We're sending that. I believe we're also going to include the county prosecutor's office as well with that. Okay, any other commissioners' comments at this time? Anybody have any? Okay. We will open to the public. Do I have a motion to open up to the public?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
We don't need a motion. It's public comment.
Yes.
Yes. When you come to the podium, please remember, sir, and I'm sure you do, that we have 3 minutes. And I think Madam Clerk will be handling that. And if there's any comments addressed to the board, you can address them to myself.
First of all, on January the 18th, you wrote a letter on behalf of the National Action Network, South Jersey chapter. I'm the president. Steve Young, that's Reverend Al Sharpton's organization, is the founder. And it's very important that we have someone to speak up for our children. They can't speak for themselves. This is a very unfortunate incident, but it's also cruelty to the entire community, because we don't know how many people was injured. We don't know what actions was taken so it won't happen again. So it's very important that an investigation be done. And as we continue to move forward with this, we're finding out more and more of our children was affected. The more of our children that's affected, the more of our community is affected. And if we don't get help for our children that was brutalized, molested, and endangered through a school system, as well as he worked for the state of New Jersey under DCP&P. How do you get a job after abusing children and molesting children? How do you continue to have this go on? So how many other people's involved with this? We don't know. That's why we asked for an investigation, a thorough investigation. And we want to thank you in advance. And this letter was written on January the 18th before you actually voted for the resolution. So we want to thank you. We thank you in advance, and we're going to thank you now. But at the same time, let's remember that. And let's just have a moment of silence for all those children that's been endangered, abused, molested, that cannot speak for themselves. So I ask everyone to bow their head for a moment of silence. Thank you very much. And let's continue to pray for them. Let's continue, I'm very proud of this commission to do something, because this is Black History Month. And a lot of our children in our community in the school system are Black. And it's very important that they have someone and see someone that really cares, stand up for them. So it's most appreciative. And I know it took a while to get us this far, but that's what comes through demonstrating, negotiating, and then legislating. So thank you again.
You're welcome. We thank you for your passion with all this as well and bringing it to us, because it's certainly been apparent over the last few meetings. And we're talking about children that can't speak for themselves. Okay. Do we have anybody else that would like to come up Okay, you need to state your name and where you reside.
Good afternoon, I'm Elizabeth Jones. I've been working at Meadowview for 7 years now, so, and I wrote down everything I want to say, so I'll make it quick. The fact that a lot
Ms.
of.
Jones, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but are you talking about what were the resolution that we're talking about right now, Resolution 81?
No.
This specific resolution.
Okay, we're just talking on this
Sorry,
resolution
my
at this time.
bad.
But, you'll have time.
Get to it first, not on the next
Yeah,
one.
yeah. I'm sorry. Is there anyone else that would like to come up and speak on Resolution 81?
My name is Umar Salahuddin. Before I say anything, I want to commend Mr. Bayless, Mr. Bertina. I thank you very much. I know it's obvious that you felt our passion, and y'all did act. And I just want to thank you for that. You know, so we don't want to take it for granted, because I saw somewhere where somebody said that we were trying to pressure people, and that wasn't the case. But you understood what we said, so that's important to us. Two things that I wanted to bring to your attention before I sit down. One of the things that really inflamed me about this whole situation is there's a picture. I'll show you the picture. This is a picture of the school board in Atlantic City. And if this don't look like, now I'm from the hood, so I'm gonna say like what I gotta say. If this don't look like somebody from the hood getting together, putting their hands up, and everybody's laughing. How you gonna laugh about our children? So this is what I got a problem with. So I'm letting my people know this here. Don't take this stuff lightly. Don't take it lightly. Also, there was a law passed by the New Jersey school boards. The name of the law is Pass the Trash. Pass the trash. This is the law in New Jersey. The reason for this was because there were several thousand children who had been molested inside the school system. When they found out, they passed this law in June of 1918. This is 4 years ago. The exact same thing is going on today. The exact same thing.
2018, right?
Yeah, 2018.
Okay.
Yeah. That's in 19. Oh, my God. You know I'm all messed up. Thank you. I appreciate that. Now, I want to go like a step further. This gentleman here is Steve Rowley. He was nominated for the Pulitzer Prize for speaking about issues like this. When he spoke about this and he was nominated, he mentioned in the state of New Jersey 6 districts where they was doing the same thing. He was nominated for this. So when we come before you, you know, I want to show you why, but I want for you to understand also that we're going to give you a leg to stand on. We don't just come up here and just go off. But it really behooves me to continue to sitting back, and I don't understand why I'm putting this on the floor. The mayor of Atlantic City hasn't said nothing. Council of Atlantic City, if they said something, they've been mealy-mouthed about it. Okay? The New Jersey School District hasn't said nothing about none of this. So I'm commending y'all for doing this. At least you're making an effort. You're going to the governor and everybody else. So I pray that you continue to know that we are going to be here, that if you ever need us to be supportive, and like y'all can't say something, I promise you that we will. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to come forward in regards to Resolution 81?
Well, hello, everyone. Hello. Oh, look at you guys.
Just state your name and
Tracy Thompson, Mays Landing, New Jersey. I'm a licensed foster mother for the state of New Jersey. So I was writing my notes. So I wanted to express my sincere gratitude for Resolution 81, and especially the mention of our concerns of how Keon Frazier became employed by DCP&P. So I am extremely grateful that you guys came together and presented that resolution. That was very important. The wording was right on point because we need to know how he got hired. Tell me how he got hired. After he was under investigation, and we have the FBI 95-page report showing his criminal acts and how he got charged for hundreds of thousands of video of child molestation and rape about children in Atlantic County. So somebody need to tell me how he got hired, because I'm still a licensed foster mother in Atlantic County, New Jersey. My troubles and worries are with this man never being brought on state criminal charges for molesting and raping the children in Atlantic County. This is where people get confused in the community. He didn't get charged with the criminal charges in the state of New Jersey for raping and molesting a kid. He only got charged for making videotapes and molesting the children, and that was it. So him being released in our community before he's 50 years old, guys, is a concern for me. So I would like the commissioners to probably consider a public hearing sometime in the future about us looking into that, holding people accountable, or either still holding him accountable for those state charges so he won't be released before he's 50. I'm just trying to figure out how the current Atlantic City superintendent has a job and got promoted to that position after major gross negligence and for failure to report to the proper authorities and report that she was a relative. She didn't report that she was his relative for probably about 2 years. That's a problem. That's a problem, and the public needs to know that, because like I said, this gentleman can possibly run into one of these children when he gets released before he's 50 years old. So if we have a state investigation, the cover-up will be revealed. Everybody that's covering up for him, everybody that's recusing themselves from certain things. The Atlantic City Board of Education investigation was shut down. That's a problem. If there's not a cover-up, why are we shutting down investigations? If there's not a cover-up, that's my concern. And anybody that breaks a law, like I said, you can walk on the opposite side of the street. I can threaten you, Mr. Riley. You know, Riley, I'm sorry. I can get charged for it.
Just keep it directed to the chairman, that's all.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
So I just want to make sure that the people that are responsible for cover up and this man gets charged properly. But I am so grateful for the resolution of looking into how DCP&P is going to move further and make sure we don't have this problem again. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Thompson. And I do want to, make a comment that you are all, commending us. It's you guys. You guys fought. You were here.
Yeah.
You brought it to our attention. We commend all of you for your passion and for taking care of the children in our society.
Yeah, because I know. Listen, people try to say you guys know everything. You don't know everything. You do the best. You got stuff coming through you all the time. So that's why I said for me to put myself out here and put my license on the line and let you know, and then you did put a resolution together. I am very grateful. Trust me when I tell you.
Thank you for your passion.
Madam Chair, if I can just say, I know the first time you came, you mentioned that, your license could be at risk. And I think it speaks volumes to you and your character for speaking up and putting that at risk. That's a huge sacrifice. And I think that needs to be recognized and commended. And hopefully we made you feel like it was a safe place to come and have this conversation and made it worth it.
I feel comfortable that if something comes up, because I know this is political, with my license at risk, I'll probably come in here and tell you guys, but I want you to know that I want to be able to take care of other children.
We want you to.
And I don't want somebody making a phone call and say, well, she spoke at such and such. Now, all of a sudden, somebody's going in there messing with my license,
Yeah.
Because you will hear from me, Mr. Frank Valens. I'm sorry. Chairwoman Maureen Curry. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Would anybody else like to come forward in reference to Resolution 81?
Hi, my name is Alan Cedar Brookins, and I'm here
and support for the children that are not here to speak. And that's all I have to say. I'm just here to support.
And your town that you live in? that you
Atlantic
reside-
City, New Jersey.
Okay, thank you very much for being here. Okay. Oh, she's gone. Do we have, sorry, I thought she was up.
Good evening, Commissioners. I wanted to start off by
Giving your name and where you
Dave
reside.
Calvin, Pleasantville. I wanted to start off by thanking you guys so much for listening to us about what has happened, because we've tried numerous avenues to try to get someone to listen to us as far as what has happened in the Atlantic City School District. And as the young lady, Tracy, had said, that how did this vicious guy get hired by the state after he was so-called fired from the city of Atlantic City? The principal, which was at the Pennsylvania Avenue School, which was recorded small, was a relative of this guy. And Tracy said that she never reported that he was a relative of hers until 2 years later. That's not true. She never reported it. It had to come out from the public. That's how it got out, that he was a relative. And what I'm really concerned about is with the things that have happened in the school district, and with Mrs. Small knowing what had happened, she didn't report it to who it was supposed to be reported to. How in the world did she get to have the top spot in the school district after she allowed our children in Atlantic City schools to be molested? She knew about these things, and I don't understand how in the world anyone in their right mind would hire her as the superintendent of Atlantic City. It's just mind-boggling. It was supposed to be an investigation through the school district. It was nothing but fake. And when the investigation started, and when they started getting down to what really happened, the school board stopped the investigation. And taxpayers paid good money for these attorneys to investigate. And there is a report somewhere out there. Why isn't it made public to what happened? We want to know. We want to get to the bottom of what happened to these children, and how in the world did this school board, knowing what happened, hire this woman to be the superintendent of Atlantic City Schools. She shouldn't be the superintendent of the schools. She should be charged with a crime. And once again, I want to thank you guys for putting that resolution. I mean this from about, I really, when I came here, I didn't think it was going to go anywhere. But I really thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Calvo. Does anybody else want to come forward? I can't see over here. Is there anybody that wants to come forward?
Is anybody else in line over here?
It's okay, Bill.
Beyond Garland, Atlantic City. I want to commend you guys too also. But the reason why you have so much silence on this is because during the time, and I'm talking about from the mayor's perspective, because it was he was running at the time to become mayor. And this is the one you're supposed to hear about first, about something pertaining to our children. Now, who in here don't love your child?
Just try to keep your comments directed to the chair, sir, that's all.
Well, you know what I mean? Who in here don't love their children? And I want to apologize for Mr. Corsi. He had to recuse himself because he was so close to this. And the reason why I got upset, I thought that by him being so close to the mayor, that he would come out and say this about our children that's being raped and abused. But neither here or there. Like I said, there's no one in this room can say they don't love their child and don't want to see them protected. And when it comes to principal slash ministry, I'm like, come on, are you serious? How'd she get awarded for abusing our children? And how is it you got a mayor that said nothing about this? How did you become mayor? Isn't your job to protect the citizens of Atlantic City? Let's known the children of Atlantic City. And you say nothing? To me, it's about $1 at the end of the day. That's what I'm looking at. This is all about $1. You got your wife. You got yourself as mayor. You got all this money coming in your home, and you doing nothing for the public or the people. How is that? How is that? Something needs to be done. Both from me, I think both of them should be removed. But once again, I want to thank you guys for what you're doing. And hopefully the public hear and see what's going on. Because a lot of them don't know what's going on. Because it was hush-hush. It was so hidden. And that's why all these people that's here, they're here for a different reason, but now they know. And I thank God for that. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to say as we're coming up, if anybody else wants to come up, please keep it to the resolution. I know we have a lot of passion with some of the political figures, but if we can just keep it, non-personal, keep it to Resolution 81. Is there anybody else that'd like to speak on Resolution 81? Are we? No? Nobody?
Yeah, I think the public comments closed, and if the commissioners want to speak, go ahead.
Oh, wait, we got somebody?
Madam Chair.
Okay. Yeah, she got Creed.
You gotta tell me.
He's unmuted.
Creed, are you on?
Okay.
Mr. Pogue, are you on?
Can you hear me?
Okay, we can hear you. Yes, we can.
Okay, yeah, I wrote it down to send it in. But since the, well, he's in jail, so we can say the criminal was hired, before the current governor was in office, would it also be fair to ask in that resolution if procedures had already either improved or more attention's been paid to their execution? And so I was wondering about having something inserted in the first resolved after governor's office to then say to ask the commissioner to detail the corrective actions taken since 2017 to prevent a recurrence of these tragic circumstances, or, and it went on about the attorney general. So just out of a full fact finding to perhaps ask that piece, because it may be with a new commissioner, hopefully some things have already changed for the better. It would be good for us to know that too. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Pogue, for the good of the order, where you reside?
Oh, I'm sorry, Estelle Manor? I'm on
Thank you.
Avenue, Estelle Manor.
Thank you. And I'm going to take that back to the authors of the resolutions or anything.
I get Mr. Krieg's concerns, and it's covered in there, but I was just giving some thought to maybe adding another whereas, if it's okay with the board. I know we have it as it's a minor adjustment, but add a paragraph in that says, whereas the report back to us with the facts and findings of your investigation. Let's ask the state to get back to us and find out what they actually found out. If we could add that in, Mr. Solicitor?
Yes, sir.
Is that a minor enough change?
Want a motion?
Yeah.
Motion to amend?
Yeah, I just want to make sure Commissioner balance.
Yeah,
I'm
good with that. Do I really think they're gonna get back to us? No, but
I'd like it in there.
it'd be nice to have it in there.
No, but I'll make a motion to include that amendment.
Second.
Second.
Motion made second. All those in favor?
Aye.
We'll close the public. Is there anybody else?
You didn't vote on it yet.
No, we didn't vote on it yet. We didn't vote on it yet. We just voted on the, almost. Is there anybody else from the public? No? Okay. A motion? Oh,
Thank you. Well, first, I just want to thank each and every one of you for coming out time and time again, for providing us with that report. I read each and every page of that report, not once, but twice. Very, I cut off? There was too many things in it to say how disturbing it really was. But, you know, one of the things that we really need to highlight is the fact that there was a complaint made by the school system of Mr. Frazier. Shouldn't even call him Mr. But anyway, by Frazier having contact with these children by texting and sleeping and having them sleep over his house, and then a state agency that protects children gets involved and investigates it, and then they hire him. How does that happen? So we really need, you know, the Attorney General's office. We need the Governor's office to direct the Attorney General to look into this. It's water under the dam now. It's a shame, but we need to make sure that this never happens again to any child, not only in Atlantic County, but anywhere in this state, anywhere in this country. It was horrible. Years ago, in my other life when I was a sheriff, when Dan Garabrandt and the prosecutor's office wanted to start this task force, I put 2 officers on that task force. One of them, which was involved in this investigation and is still on that task force, and they do a phenomenal job. And reading Dan's report, it was very, very detailed, which every one of you that read it, you know, see that. So I'm very confident that the FBI, the prosecutor's office, and any agency, municipality, and the sheriff's office that were involved in that investigation did what they needed to do. As I explained during some of these other meetings, which some of you were here and some of you weren't, there's a lot that goes on during that interview process and that negotiation process with the prosecutor's office, with the FBI, with their attorneys, and that's where the negotiation is made to what they're going to be charged with. And he was charged with the most serious, you know, federal crime, okay, which gets him the most crime, which gets him the most time, and doesn't have to re-victimize any of the children to have to come and testify, which they have to relive that again and again every time they get a deposition, going in front of a judge, the lawyers browbeating them and trying to turn it around and make it the child's fault. So, yeah, even though he didn't get a whole lot of time, it's the best case scenario. He's behind bars. He got the maximum amount of time he could possibly get. I know you probably read in the paper a few weeks ago where a guy from out of this county brought a girl into Atlantic City and raped her, a child, and on several occasions. He got 7 years. Okay? Thank God it wasn't my daughter. Thank God it was anybody's daughter in here. But we need to make sure that, you know, none of this mishap can happen again, and you put somebody into a position where they're talking and interviewing alone with vulnerable children in the community. DCP&P needs to find out what step was missed, and I don't think it was anything political. I think something was missed along the way, and they need to correct that. And if it takes an investigation by the Attorney General's office to make sure they change their policies and procedures, that's why we're so intent on making sure that we put this resolution together. I believe all my colleagues are 100% behind it. And this would not have been brought to our attention to the detail that it was unless each and every one of you didn't come out here and provide us with this information. And, you know, we're doing our small part, our part that we possibly can do. But again, you know, commend the task force, law enforcement for doing the job that they did. And that isn't just one case they see. They see these cases all the time with the juvenile prostitution and everything that this task force handles. And it's just a shame that there's men and women that find the need to have to abuse a child. You know, they rear children, and then they abuse them. It's just not right. And you know, hopefully this does get a little bit of traction from the governor and the Attorney General's office, and hopefully our assembly and senators that represent Atlantic County, make sure that they push this forward. And, you know, I just, you know, we'll follow up with whatever we can. And we'll miss seeing you guys because usually there's only a couple people sitting in here. It's not a packed room like this. So stay involved. Come out and listen to the other things that are going on in Atlantic County.
Okay.
See a lot of that.
Again, I want to thank the public for bringing this to our attention. Thank Commissioners Bertino and Ballas for the wording of this, because this is absolutely abhorrent. It's disgusting, and for two reasons. I'm a parent, and I'm also a teacher. We're told that at the sign of any abuse, we're supposed to call this agency. And you click on their employment page, it says help protect New Jersey's children, come work for us. I want to know as a teacher that I'm not turning the lamb over to the wolf. So I thank you for the wording of this resolution.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yeah, just Madam Chair, if I can, just a quick comment. In terms of things that we can control, you know, this is a small action, and I wish we could do so much more. I'm just wondering, and maybe it's something our education committee could take a look at, if we could request the county superintendent just to review our own policies, procedures, and just make sure all of our I's are dotted, T's are crossed, and procedures are in place that need to be, or maybe even need to be strengthened to make sure that the people we're bringing into our districts are the right and not the trash, as the pass the trash law mentioned. So just a suggestion, maybe as a follow-up action.
Okay, and again, we thank you all for your passion bringing this. I know you're going to keep on the trail, keep going, keep moving, and find some answers. We thank you. We need more people like you to see something, say something, and that's what you're doing. And we appreciate that. And you know, there's quite a bit that goes into our community, and we need community leaders like yourself. So now we're going to go for a roll call.
Ballas?
Can he speak? Is it too late?
Well, we'll let you, but we closed the.
We closed the public portion. I mean, we left it open for quite a long time and announced it. But I'll defer to the chair. I think that's the appropriate thing to do, not to deprive them, but.
What's that?
I think the appropriate thing to do is to continue, not to deprive them from talking. I think you left it open for quite a long time and announced it. That's my opinion.
To let them go or wait to the public?
To proceed, but you know, I'll defer to what you want to do, Madam Chair.
To proceed with the vote?
With the roll call, yes.
Okay, so we will open to the public again at the end of the meeting. Okay, so we're almost there.
Ready for this vote.
We're almost there. Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi? He's recused. Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you all again. Okay, is Mr. Corsi coming back? Does anybody know? Commissioner Corsi is, okay, that concludes the written portion of our agenda. Any reports of special committees of the board?
Madam Chair, just want to make mention that the Lake Lenape Dam Committee held the public public information session last week. It went well attended, good questions. I believe the recording is going to be available online. I was checking, I don't see it yet. But if anybody wants a copy of the presentation that was made, I'm happy to share it if anybody reaches out. And if you don't have it, I can send it to you guys as well. Thank you.
Thank
Madam
you very
Chair,
much.
if I could,
Yes.
support for the library. The library administration has reopened Hamilton Library. We've also taken Absecon under the county library system. So that's a new addition to the county library system. There are 13 vacancies throughout our library system currently. So for anyone who's looking for, or has any experience in the library system, we have 13 vacancies, 2 full-time library assistant positions, 1 at Absecon and 1 at Mays Landing. And the Hamilton roof project was delayed due to material shortage. And they're hoping to start the project next week. They're hoping that the materials will come in and they'll be able to start that project. And if I could just give one more for Parks and Environment, the major project that they want to work on out of Parks and Environment is Bike Path West. They want to connect the bike path, continue to connect that, absolutely. So I've already spoken to some folks over at Egg Harbor Township. We have some, we're renovating a park over there in the McKee City area, for those who don't know, and it's going to memorialize Colonel John McKee. And we're hoping that that's going to be, we're going to be utilizing Officer Ed Bertino and his LEAP program, Law Enforcement Activities Program, will be stationed over there. And we're trying to see if there's something we can do shared services wise where we can kind of connect those two projects, because it's going to run right kind of in the same area. But if it goes through, we would connect to Camden County, and that could connect that bike path all the way up to Philadelphia, which would be amazing. We also talked about getting lighting, proper lighting for Pleasantville bike path and for the rest of the bike paths in Harbor Township.
Thank you very much. And back to the libraries, I don't know if you saw the article about a very high percentage of more and more people utilizing the facilities. So people who need it. So thank you very much.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Bertino.
Thank you. Bridges and Roads Committee met the first meeting of the year. We have quite a few projects that are in the pipeline. I think a lot of people are seeing, even though it's wintertime, there's still some construction that's going on. Weather holds us back. We reviewed a lot of our bridges, roads, dams projects for the coming year. We went over financing on it. Public Works talked to us about some of the issues. They did a pretty decent job with snow removal during the last major snowfall. When you get 12 inches of snow and more, and with the drifting, it takes some time to get back out there. And our guys, I think, did an admirable job. But we also talked about ways to improve that service and make some adjustments where we can to do better, because you can always do better, as I tell my guys. One other issue they brought up, we discussed, which is the Sweetwater. We have a bridge out in Sweetwater that's an old one. I think the commissioners will remember last year, Mayor Hanselman came here and talked about an issue with the bridges opening and closing. It's an old bridge from about 1914. It's a historic bridge. And they asked for us to adjust the schedule, which administration had already had taken care of that issue. I'm bringing that to the board's attention because I think as we're going forward, that's going to be one where we're going to start talking about, and I know they love when I say this, replacement, because it's going to take a couple of years just to get into the process and look for financing and funding. But I wanted to bring that to your attention because you may be hearing about some of that as we go forward in the spring, especially with the western end when the people are on the boats on the Mullica and they're trying to utilize the bridge. You'll be getting phone calls, I think, like I got last year, on the schedule that we have, working with the Coast Guard. It's not us, we got to work through the Coast Guard. So I just want to put that on your radar. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Madam Chair?
Yes.
So after that meeting was over, I called the mayor of Mullica, and we set up a meeting to go out there and
discuss.
He has a different opinion than the prior mayor. He has one of his council people who own a yacht. That, one of 4 people apparently that own yachts within Mullica. So he's going to have that gentleman there with us, and we're going to go out and look at the bridge, and there's a couple of other issues that he wants to show us along the river. Not that we can change that, but it has something to do with our bridge that he wants to show us. So, just so that the chairperson of the Roads and Bridges.
So you're cruising
If
on a
that
yacht.
involves a yacht ride, I'll help out.
Sunset cruise?
Do we have any other comments or anything from the commissioners right now? No other reports? Okay. Is that? Does anybody have any unfinished business? Nobody has any unfinished business? Okay, we open up to the public?
New business?
New business.
New business, sorry, I'm like all over the place here.
Written communication.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
New
Oh,
business.
I'm sorry, new business.
Yeah, I just want to direct it to Jerry. Jerry, the crosswalk right out front here, going to the parking lot across the street. Is there a way we can look into putting a pedestrian warning light there? You take your life in your hands going from this building to that parking lot, especially this time of year when we're leaving the meeting when it's dark. The public that comes here has to cross that street. The employees have to cross that street. We have to cross that street. You have to cross that street, and hopefully, just a little yellow blinking light there will maybe get the attention. You try and wait until the light turns red, but then the people make a left off of Dolphin Avenue and, you know, for whatever reason, want to gun it and run you over. So if we could look at maybe getting something there just for the safety of our employees, our residents, the people that use this facility.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, do we have any other new business? Right, seeing none, we've received copies of written communication and petitions. Any commissioner have anything they'd like to share? Okay, seeing none, we'll now open the public portion of the meeting. Anyone that would like to speak during the public comments, please come to the podium, state your name, the town you reside, and if, again, you're on virtually, just let us know that you'd like to give any comments.
Good to go?
Sorry, it gets to be a long meeting.
Sorry, no offense.
Yeah, we have the 3 minutes, so go right ahead with everybody that's coming up.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Matthew DiUlio Giacino. I'm a resident of Atlantic City and a member of the Atlantic City Independence Committee. First, I'd like to thank the Commissioners Board for passing this resolution. You know, this has been an issue that's been really close to me and several of the people that I've been working very closely with for the last few months. To see any traction at all, really, it's just a great thing. It's you know, sometimes you really feel like your voice is falling on deaf ears, but you guys have proven that's not the case. I do, however, have some concerns with, you know, I'd hate to be I'm trying to think of the word, ungrateful, but you know, I really feel like there's some aspects of it that don't really go far enough. I mean, essentially what you have is a state employee who raped a child and wasn't charged because he filmed himself raping the child. Yeah, this is what happened. He got federal charges for the pornography aspect, but was never charged for actually raping the child from the state. And that's a key component of this. Is why was that never addressed? Is the message to the pedophiles across America, hey, as long as you film the rapes, you'll be all good?
We are sending the resolution, not to interrupt you, but we are sending it up to the state legislators as well, because we don't control the state.
Okay, well then, you know, I hope they come back with something. And Mr. Corsi, I'm very disappointed that you recused yourself.
Please, just address the chair, sir. That's all. That's all I ask is that you address the chair specifically.
Okay.
And as you know, he recused himself, so I'm telling him not to talk about this subject for legal purposes.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt you.
So, to the people who recused themselves, I'm very disappointed, particularly when I move and you become my elected representative, and this be our first interaction with one another. It's very unfortunate, but not unexpected, having said that. But I just want to say congratulations to the members of the Atlantic City Independence Committee. We've done great work, and thank you guys for everything you've done so far.
Okay, and just so you know, there are times with our legal team that we are, told to recuse.
I understand.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and I'm sure we have quite a few people, but again, we have a 3 minute, you'll hear.
I'm talking for mostly everybody who's standing in the room, Madam Chair.
You are.
Yes. Good evening, Madam Chair and the Commissioners. My name is Monique Griffin, and I'm the president of Local 2302. I come before you today to talk about hazard pay, premium pay, or stipend, as Mr. Del Rosso would like to call it. As you know, this is not our first time here. We were here the last time, and you asked Mr. Del Rosso to meet with all of us. As this total, we had a total of 3 meetings. Our last meeting, we sat there, we asked to sit down at the table to come up with something that was fair for all parties. Our staff rep, Yolanda Lawson, has been sending correspondence to Mr. Del Rosso, no answer. You know that it's now February of 2022. We have been working this pandemic for almost 2 years. On Wednesday, Jennifer Starr, the Assistant County Counsel, sent out correspondence to all the unions that a stipend will be given for 3 months. What Mr. Rosso does not understand, wants y'all to believe that the COB building was closed. It was never closed. For the last 2 years, we have been seeing customers. In 3 months, we went without proper PPE that the union purchased out of their funds to make sure that every member had gloves, masks, shields to talk to customers. We had customers coming in the building who says, I just got tested positive, but I want to drop my paperwork off to TANF, GA, Medicaid, child support, food stamps. So what Mr. Durasso is asking us to accept 3 months, it's like a slap in our face. If it wasn't for all of us in this room right now, no customer of Atlanta County would have got served. We put our lives on the line, our family lives on the line to make sure that the customers got served. That should tell Mr. Durasso about the employees that he has and that are working for him. We care about the customers, but no one cares about our lives. And that is not fair to us. What Mr. Durasso do not understand, we have people standing in this room today are losing their homes, cannot put food on their table, and cannot put clothes on their family beds. Not alone, we are the lowest paid and service the highest clientele. Atlanta County does not care about us, not at all. Because if they did, they will be fair across the whole board and pay us from March to December. Atlantic City did it. Cape May did it. So why can't Atlanta County do it? They got $52 million. 2.25 they received. In May of 2022, they received another 2.25. But you don't want to pay us? That's unacceptable. It's not fair. We came here the last time. He stood right there and said, it doesn't matter if I talk to them. We're not going to pay them. It's not fair. And we're coming to you to get a resolution to help us. Because if it wasn't for us, you wouldn't have had no clientele to serve. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Susan Desidori. I'm a staff nurse at Meadowview Nursing and Rehab, the Atlantic County facility. We are some of the employees from Atlantic County's Meadowview Nursing and Rehab. We're nurses, CNAs, dietary, maintenance, housekeeping, and recreation workers, all just as important as the other. Yes, we all signed up for our jobs, but no one, not one of us, not even any of you sitting here, signed up for a global pandemic, which we are enduring. We are employees who all worked and continue to work on a face-to-face, up-close, and personal daily basis with COVID and its repercussions. Again, no one signed up for this. Our staff at Meadowview has met and continues to meet our commitment to the county facility and its veterans and its residents who have come through our doors. We continue to show up, do our job in the safest manner and to the best of our ability, regardless of COVID and its variants that have followed. After reading many articles, it's safe to say New Jersey has received more than $6 billion from the American Rescue Plan Act, with Atlantic City alone receiving $33 million for COVID relief funding. It was stated, in an article that Atlantic City workers, some of them, received $3,500 stipend. Many of these workers were able to be at home, work from home, in the safety of their own surroundings during the worst of the pandemic. Interim federal rules issued by the Department of Treasury states, amongst other things, it is providing hazard pay to essential frontline workers. Not minimizing in the least, but it's not clear to any of us, as in March of 2020, the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 a pandemic a global pandemic, and frontline essential workers at Meadowview have yet to receive any hazard compensation. We are doing our job above and beyond, wearing N95 masks, respirators, hair coverings, goggles, and gowned up for our shifts. 8-hour shifts, 10-hour shifts, and some 16-hour shifts. Almost 2 years have we been fighting this COVID. We are also the support system to our residents at Meadowview. Residents for months were unable to have contact visits with their family members, only via Skype or phone calls. We kept their spirits up and positive when many were down and out at this time. Again, no one signed up for this pandemic. Our staff has met and continues to meet our commitment to this county facility and its residents. We would hope that the county will do its best to honor its commitment to us with retroactive hazard compensation. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Jones. I've been working at Meadowview for 7 years. Since the first patient that we got at Meadowview, I'm one of the lucky employees that have been there every day. I've did 16-hour shifts. I work 7 days a week. I worked the hallway by myself when we did not have anyone to be staffed. Also, we have been there to watch so many patients fall. We were the ones who packed up the bags, got them ready for the morgue, got them ready to see them, and their family never got a chance to say goodbyes. We were there for the families as well. I think it dishonors us as CNAs, as nurses, as the frontline workers that y'all say y'all respect. But the fact that we're in here again after 2 years of like just literally trying to get what's owed to us. We're not asking y'all for extra, we're asking what's owed. And I keep hearing about this raise that y'all want to give us and stuff. Thank you for acknowledging that we're underpaid for the job that we do. I would take that raise, but I want my hazard pay. I feel like I've been there, we did our job, we want what we deserve, so thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Do you mind stating the city that where you reside?
I live in Pleasantville, New Jersey.
Okay, thank you. We just need it for the record. Thank you very much.
Hi. My name is India. I worked at Meadowview for 19 years. I worked very hard during the pandemic, and it was some days I wanted to cry when my employer called me saying that we needed you because they had no staff to come in and show up, and there's only you there to work a 30-bed hallway. It's heartening, and then to hear that our money might be spread out or you don't want to give it is heartening. So my question is, if we was the COs at the county jail, would you spread their money out? Or is it because it's us that y'all don't want to give us our proper pay, no deal? That's what I ask.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rudolph Trajakovic. I live in Cardboard Township. I'm one of the aide of Meadowview Nursing Home. We face death every day. When the COVID-19 attacked Meadowview, there's nobody there except my fellow co-workers. We face 16 hours, all the patients in bed, don't know what they're doing. We face death. There's nobody there. You can't even see the management upstairs. Why? Because they're afraid to come down and catch that pandemic. Who was facing that? We are. We are. Another thing, we are the one who buy all those stuff. We sure did. Which they did not supply us from the beginning of the pandemic on 2019 until they received that fund from the government. And what? They strict each one of us to use those protective gear. You have to use it, you have to wash it, you have to dry it. That's how the way they treat us over there. The other thing, when you ask them about the hazard pay, they pretending that they didn't know what means of hazard pay. Don't tell me you're a management. You reach the college, you reach degree, and you don't know what's the meaning of hazard pay? That's why we're asking you guys. Do we look like we don't deserve a hazard pay? One of my coworkers who served as an aide for 17 years, who was in the hospital for the whole year, cannot come back anymore. Why? He's pulling the oxygen. Where did he catch the COVID?
At work.
Thank you.
Legs amputated.
The legs are amputated. Do they call him? Do they give him a support? No. So, if one of us catch us, or for God's sake, are they going to call us? No. Do you think they said thank you to us? No. Do they thank on our face? Oh, thank you guys for being here. We worked 16 hours, 1 aide in one hallway. They were struggling for 20 patients, bagging their body, picking up all the trash, all the bags, all their stuff. They don't even face the family. We are their family. But when we talk about the hazard pay, they run upstairs and they ignore us. That's all I can tell you guys. Hope you think about it.
Thank you.
And not only we were sent help, I'm Deborah Roll. I speak with an accent, yes I do. But not only we were sent help, but so-called help. We did not receive any help from nobody. We were sent from the vet, from the VA, and they sat there while we did all the work. We had to beg, can you help us? Can you help us do something? And they just sit there. What was it? Then the National Guard came in. Then recently we had the National Guard, and it was just a front. We did not receive any help. They just say, we're here to fill staffing. I watched one actually vape all afternoon. He sit there, he lay with his feet up. And that was the help we were sent. I mean, come on, we need the help. We asked for the help. They sent help, but was it of any help? No. He vaped. Actually, he had his cigarettes. I don't know what flavor it was, but he was all afternoon with his feet up. And then he did a puzzle. A puzzle. So why did you send? This was just a show? No help. We have to ask. Why one actually came to me and he said, oh, we're just here for staffing. We get a list. We're not supposed to do anything. So that was no help to us. We did it all alone by ourselves with everybody here. So I think we should be compensated for what was sent to us as staff at the Meadowview Nursing Home. This is what I had to wear. Days I feel my ears were actually falling out, with everything hanging off, mask, everything hanging off. It was horrible. Sweat, you cold, you hot, you in this thing. I mean, come on, we need what was sent to us. That's all, thanks.
Ma'am, can you state the, where you reside?
Where do you reside? Where do you reside?
AHD.
Good afternoon. My name is Sutrina L. Chambers. I live in Pleasantville, Madam Chairwoman, and all the commissioners. I would like to say, and my coworkers and our team AFSCME members have spoken well. I would just like to add, and we came, and I had on almost all the full gear because we wanted you to get a visual of what we have gone through since March of 2020, pretty much. And I don't want to be redundant, but I just want to emphasize that, you know, I'm a nurse, and so, you know, we get these text messages and these phone calls when other county buildings have delayed openings. But I just want you to know the jails and Meadowview Nursing Home, we never close. And it's a 24-hour facility. When it's inclement weather, we, if you can't make it in, some people take public transportation, they get picked up. So we never got a break. And then it was stretched even more when our coworkers began to get sick. So then we're short-staffed. So I just want to appeal to you that, as one of my coworkers said, this is, raise is good, but we're asking for what we're entitled to. And I just want you to think, if we can't strike, but if we were not there, and you may not have any loved ones in a nursing home, but I'm sure you know of someone who's in a long-term care facility. What would that facility do if we were not there? And I'm talking about dietary. I'm talking about maintenance. I'm talking about nursing, CNAs, housekeeping. Thank you. All of us. We're a team. And so I just want you to appeal. I want to appeal to you to let you know that we're human beings. We have responsibilities. And if the money was mandated by the governor, I really don't even see why we would not have it. I don't understand. So please, we appeal to you. Thank you for this space.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tommy Randall. And like you said, we all took a lot home to our families. We all took stuff home. My wife has lung cancer. I ended up taking something home to her. She's in the hospital on oxygen with pneumonia. I mean, to hear Jerry come out with $5 to $8 was really a low blow. I'm disappointed in Jerry. I mean, I thought he was a good dude, but I see now when it comes to money and paying politics, that's where he's at. It's really disappointing. Like I said, it's been hard. It's been hard. I really hope you guys do the right thing. Real talk. Do the right thing. That's all. Thank you.
Just tell them what town you live in, sir.
Yeah, I just
DHT.
have a question.
Yes.
Do you have a dollar in mind? What is fair?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
Our proposal that we initially proposed, that ASME initially proposed. Jerry know what it is.
I don't know what it is.
We don't know what it is.
It was $500 a quarter.
Let somebody didn't know what they said.
Okay, $13 an hour.
Increase?
Well, it will explain it to him, please. Thank you.
It was
Just state your name and just tell her your name and tell the chairman. Tell the chairman.
My name is April Wool. I'm the president of Local 34. Hello, commissioners. I'm a little nervous because I'm really not a speaker. But I represent Local 3408. And I also represent Meadowview Nursing Home and Essential Kitchen. We provide life-saving services to the residents in our community. It has been a devastating impact on all of us. From the nurses who took care of the residents, non-stop working short-staffed, to the housekeeping workers that kept the buildings clean and the rooms clean, the food service workers who trade up the food and kept the utensils clean, to the cooks who cooked the nutritional meals for Meals on Wheels in the nursing home. And lastly, the warehouse drivers who delivered the meals. We all have been impacted and scared, to take this COVID home. We don't know what we was taking home. And this is why serious consideration should be taken. Employees deserve more than what is being offered. And what AFSCME was asking for was $13 an hour. Yes. For hours work. Thank you. And my name is April Bull and I live in Maysland.
And this offer is $5 an hour.
Yes.
So that 13 to 5.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about.
Correct.
Okay. I didn't know the detail.
Thank you.
But April, let them know that's from March to December.
Okay, that is retroactive from March to
Yes.
December.
Yes.
Not 3 months.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Evan Fauntleroy, Mays Landing. All right, here we are again, meeting in front of the Board of Commissioners about hazard pay that was issued from the federal government. All right, you have welfare and healthcare workers here alike who have risked their lives during a continuing pandemic with information that was changing daily. Our work continued in an office that was still open to the public despite all federal recommendations. Yet we are essential when the public needs it, but not when the county executive finds it inconvenient to their budget? How can we as a county discuss plans for thousands or millions toward jailing and not account for the jobs behind it? The incomes of all workers who run this county, not to mention how hard it was pushed for a county court in the midst of this pandemic, was separating the municipalities and the various jobs which were associated. Let's do right by the employees of Atlantic County. Let's pay them what they deserve and make sure they remain in front. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, my name is Sherry Rassman, and I am the Vice President of Local 2302. And I want to first say thank you to not just each of you commissioners for taking the time to listen to all of us complain, but I want to thank each and every one of the employees that came out from all dialectics and divisions of Atlantic County government. We stand in solidarity. Yes. We know that when you look at the Recovery Act from Trump and also from Biden, that there is not a law or statute that says that any entity has to provide to us essential pay. But as you've heard the plea of each and every division here, we never closed. We worked with the public. We did not, and I say it again, from Atlantic County government, 1333 Atlantic Avenue. PPE was not provided to us until June by Atlantic County government. We purchased it on our own. We not only distributed it to union members, we distributed it to administration, because even administration, unless they purchased it, it wasn't provided. And that was one of the provisions. We're not asking for a lot. We're asking you to consider where we work, how hard we work, that we are open to the public, yet other entities in Atlantic County government, like administrators and the PBX operators, were able to get some type of electronic device to work from home, but not in 1333, the Department of Welfare. We did not have that option, but the operators could answer calls from home in the beginning of the pandemic for months. And all we're saying is to compensate us for hours worked, not for hours that people had time off because of childcare, because of health reasons, but to each and any one of these individuals, and the ones that you see, the ones that you don't see that are here in spirit, that we stand in solidarity, and we are still servicing clients in all of our areas with unknown statuses, not like the nursing home where they know, but we have individuals coming in to get services at 1333 with hospital bands on their arm that we have to let into the building. We don't know what they have, but we still have to service them. So please, just consider it not robbery, to consider our plight and our plea and our request.
Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chairwoman, committeemen. My name is Jacqueline Farmer. I'm from Summers Point, New Jersey, and I'm an employee of Atlantic County government at 1333 Atlantic Avenue in Atlantic City, the county office building, or the Cobb. You've heard the stories. You know the story. We were there. The federal government took care to make sure that the families of Atlantic County were taken care of, that no one would go hungry. But they dropped the ball when it came to the employees who were designated, who signed the applications and the contracts to issue the benefits to make sure that no one went hungry. Where were you for us? Where are you for us? And I have one simple question. I'm here to speak for myself and for my brothers and sisters, but I'm also here to speak for the horse. I'm here to speak for the horse that's dead, and I'm asking, can we please bury him? He's carried the weight of all of us all this time. We keep bringing him back up and back up and back up. We need to put him where he rightfully deserves to be. So I'm asking you to just understand. And if you don't understand, stop by sometime. You can see the demographic of the population that we deal with. Not once did we turn our back. Not once did we close the door. We turned no one away. We stood in positions that we weren't familiar with. We did jobs that were out of our title. We didn't ask for anything except to be treated fairly. And so we're here again today. And I'm just asking for a proper burial for a horse that truly deserves it. Yeah. Let's put him to rest. Okay. So I thank you for your time. I thank you for listening. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sophia Kent Howardson. I'm with Teamsters Local 331. I work here in public health, been here for 20 years. And my president is not here tonight. So I'm coming to just speak briefly and just let you know that I stand in solidarity with everyone in this room. So I know you guys have heard me speak once before. I know, Jerry, that, we're, looking at your proposal, but I just want to let you know, Teamsters, we are in support of everybody in this room, and I represent public health, the nurses' aides, the clerks. So I ask y'all guys to just rethink everything that has been said to you tonight and just really consider all the work and everything that has been said. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else that would like?
Tracy Thompson, Mace Landry. I just wanted to say that my stepfather is a patient at Meadowview, and that I wanted to be in support and to put this on the record of the workers there. His name is Henry Hextall. He's a retired
he's my resident.
military Army officer. He is my children, my family's grandfather, and he is still alive. He cannot walk, so these employees take great care of him. His hands, he has one board up, the other one's like this. I mean, they are exceptional. And I wanted to really tell you how hard they work, because some of these ladies, they come in, they're moving the mattresses, they're moving his body. He's a grown man, and he's slipping down. And these are not men doing this; these are women doing this. I was in there when the National Guard was there, and he's slipping down, and they say they come and they look in, they say, "You want us to lift you back up, Mr. Hextall?" And then two ladies come in there. This is real work, and it's a real situation. And I need you guys to know that I'm all over Atlanta County, and that I have friends and people that work there also. And I am a daughter of a military family. I am a daughter, and there's grandchildren. I come from a military family, and this is a real situation. So that's why I said his name, and I said his situation, and I said that how his hands are and how he cannot walk. So how hard they're working, and how I come in there. When I was at this meeting the last time, I left here and went to go see my father. He's on the street. And I come in there, and them ladies are in there, and like I said, the last time I went there, there wasn't as many, but the National Guard was there, and it was the women in there that was pushing those carts and moving the patients' bodies, and like I said, masked up and telling me, because I would take my, I would talk to my dad, and listen, it wasn't like they are leaving the patients in their room to fend for themselves. Those employees, they walk those halls, and they look in there, and they have relationships. My dad was in there talking to them about football and who their favorite player was and playing with them. They're not in there working and saying, "Oh, let me just clean you up and feed you and see what you want and move to the next one." They built relationships. They knew who his football team was, because he's a Cowboys fan. Yeah, so that's where they went there.
Yeah, you might have worked that out.
Yes, but they were having a ball with him, and let me tell you, I loved it. I loved it. The relationships were there. They're human beings. They care about the patients. So I am saying to you, my stepfather, retired military officer from the Army, Mr. Henry Hextall, is still alive because of these employees at Medgar, and I am so grateful. So grateful.
My name is Charlotte Blake. I reside in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And to come on the end of what she said, ma'am, Tracy?
Yes, dear.
I'm your dad's aide. We do have the best relationship.
I know.
The best relationship. He's
Just
a
keep
great
it,
guy.
I'm sorry to interrupt you,
Okay,
but try and
that's
keep it
fine.
directed to the chairman.
We do work really hard. Really, really hard. 16-hour days. Sometimes we don't have any coverage. Like the girl said, we did have to buy our own PPE, our own stuff. It's hot. Half the time we can't breathe. And a lot of us, while we're fighting COVID at work, a lot of us brought it home. A lot of us did bring it home. We have children at home. We have elderly parents at home that we have to care for, and just relatives. So, to say what they said, we do need our money, especially if it's rightfully ours. It's rightfully ours. The governor sent it for the healthcare workers. We never got it. We never even really got acknowledged for it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, many of you know me in the room as Matt. I'm on the help desk every day, helping with computers and everything. I've witnessed exactly what everyone's going through. I've set up the remote tools for people to work at home. I've given them the access for people to work home, and I've still had to be in the building every day supporting going to Mediview, the jail, any building I was liable to go to fix a computer, to help where I was needed. I even worked on the machine that calibrated their PPE stuff, the little that they had. And what I'm asking for is them and everyone in the county gets compensated for working during COVID and being there in environments that, frankly, I knew less about them than they did because I was just showing up there every day. You know, I was showing up to these different departments, and I ended up catching COVID. I don't know if it was from here, but what I do know is that when the public health department called me and said, "Who have you been in contact with?" You know how long it took me to go through my head and figure out who in the county have I been near every single day? Because it gets so many that I can't count. You know, I'm up on every floor in the COB, up at every building here. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying I've witnessed this, and I think it's right for everyone who worked during the pandemic, regardless of how many days they were here, whatever, that they get fairly compensated. And I think hazard pay is not too much to ask. Thank you. And I'm from Acorn Township, in case I didn't say that.
Do we have anybody else that wants to
I'll
address?
just say one thing real fast. All right, my name is Linda Key. I live in Pleasantville, New Jersey. I'm a 30-year employee at Mediview Nursing Home. I've been a CNA for 30 years.
Thank you.
Working them floors, and I just want to tell you, it's not easy. It's COVID really, it really did something to us. I mean, we're still there. We're still hanging in. We're going to take care of our residents. But we're here because we think we deserve something for all this hard work, all this, it's just a lot. It's a lot. We have to do a lot of extra things that we never had to do before COVID came. Now COVID came, everything's different. We have vital signs and everything that we never had to do that has to be done daily, every shift. So we just want you to acknowledge our hard work. And I just want to thank you for listening to us. Yes. And hopefully we'll, like the lady said, we'll put that horse to bed. Thank you.
Thank you for all your hard work. Do we have anybody else that wants to address the board?
There's a lot back there.
Okay. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Might have been